Let our consciousness enter the new era first. Let our consciousness enter the new era first. Xiefeng. February 7, 2025. Now that we have cars, trains, and airplanes, would you still travel long distances in an ox cart or a horse-drawn carriage? Now that we have smartphones, would you still write letters and deliver them to the post office for a mailman to send them thousands of miles away? Do you still use an abacus? Do you still walk 2 kilometers to fetch water? Do you still carry a basket of dirty laundry to the river to wash your clothes? Do you still build houses by stacking mud bricks? Now that you have the second home, are you still eager to get married, start a family, and raise children as a safeguard for old age? The era of life Echanuan has arrived, a time of universal brotherhood, where the whole world is one family. Are you still foolishly enthusiastic about sacrificing yourself for your nation? Nations like the United States, Germany, Russia, Iran, and China will soon become things of the past. The nation itself will turn into a historical phenomenon displayed in museums. Will you still insist on distinguishing "this is our country" from "that is another country"? Artificial intelligence has been born and is growing rapidly. Do you still want to become an accountant, lawyer, teacher, clerk, or statistician? Robots will soon replace almost all manual labor. Do you still intend to rely on physical work for survival? Will gas stations still employ workers dedicated solely to fueling vehicles? Every job that can be programmed will soon be replaced by automated systems. Will human operators still be needed? As more government departments are compressed or abolished, do you still aspire to be a civil servant or climb the bureaucratic ladder just to scrape by? With the emergence and growing dominance of silicon-based life, we will eventually realize that humanity is gradually evolving into an unnecessary species on this planet. People will become consumers of Earth's resources and producers of waste, destructive forces rather than its protectors. Reflect on this. Are we now on the eve of a great purification? Is it still worthwhile to strain one's brain trying to start a business and become rich? In the future, most of our interactions will not be with concrete individuals but with virtual information. Every smartphone user should ask themselves, do you spend more time scrolling on your phone or engaging in face-to-face conversation? Facts and trends indicate that, in the future, people's need for spiritual and soul wealth will far exceed their need for material wealth. Perhaps the joy and comfort brought by someone far away will far surpass the spiritual satisfaction provided by those nearby. Clearly, seeking the source of spiritual and soul wealth is far more important than merely making money. Those who do not plan for eternity are unfit to plan for even the present moment. Those who do not plan for the whole situation are unfit to plan for even a small domain. Those who do not plan for their entire life are not capable of planning even one undertaking. Those who do not plan for heaven are not fit to plan for their whole life. Times are evolving. In an era of development, traditional ideas and methods will not continue along their old trajectories. Only by breaking free from the constraints of traditional culture and the shackles of conventional production and lifestyle can we align with the laws of the new era. If we cling to the old ways, we will inevitably be eliminated by the new era, just as television and newspapers are gradually being phased out. Marriages and families will be phased out, nations will disappear, and even political parties and religions will be eliminated. Similarly, current forms of currency will become obsolete, and officials and billionaires will be replaced. Only those with a perfected soul garden will endure. Let our consciousness enter the new era first and then strive to have our bodies follow. Be the servant of all. Xiefeng. February 5, 2025. Jesus Christ told us, be the servant of all. Matthew 9 verse 35. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. Luke 18 verse 14. Being a servant brings boundless benefits. Observe those around you. Those who seek to be served by others often suffer from illness or misfortune. Though they enjoy the service of those around them, they endure discomfort and pain. In contrast, those who willingly serve others are always healthy and full of vitality. The way of heaven is just. The tiger is mighty, yet it is not given wings, nor is it allowed to reproduce excessively. The mouse is lowly, yet it is granted the ability to thrive and multiply boundlessly. The way of heaven does not allow any one being to monopolize all advantages. Be a servant to all from the depths of your heart. Serve others willingly, wholeheartedly, and with devotion. Do not concern yourself with whether those you serve are good or bad, and do not calculate whether you should serve or not. Do not dwell on who owes whom. Instead, be like the sun, radiating light and warmth to those around you. Be like a blooming flower, offering the beauty and fragrance of your life. By doing so, you will reap at least two great rewards: enduring health and a guaranteed place in the heavenly kingdom. Never expect others to serve you. To enjoy the service of others is to incur a loss in the way of heaven. Never calculate gains and losses, simply present the best and kindest version of yourself to the world. Never seek praise from others. The more one delights in worldly success, the further one drifts from the heavenly kingdom. Never think that old age entitles you to be served. Never entertain such thoughts. Even at the age of 120, one can still serve all beings and be the servant of all. Until you reach the heavenly kingdom, never waver in your commitment and determination to be the servant of all. Never harbor the slightest doubt about the guide's roadmap. When your faith wavers, the foundation of your life will tremble, your path will become unclear, and demons and evil spirits will seize the opportunity to invade. Be a servant, never a slave. Xie Feng. February 6, 2025. A servant is a voluntary and willing helper, whereas a slave is someone forced into labor, suffering hardship under oppression, and losing their dignity in submission. Why be a servant? Because Christ Jesus taught us to be the servant of all. If one wishes to earn the respect of others and become a leader revered by many, one must first become the servant of all. I would like to add two more points. Only those with the mindset and state of a servant can be accepted into heaven, and only those with a servant's awareness can maintain inner peace and physical health. Why not be a slave? Because a slave is a product of oppression by a dominant force, not the result of a voluntary choice. A servant retains dignity, whereas a slave has none, therefore, one must never become a slave. Being a servant is a privilege reserved for noble and strong individuals. Only the strong can truly serve others. The pitiful and weak do not have the qualification to be servants. Look at the grass, wildflowers, trees, insects, birds, and animals across the vast mountains and land. Who takes care of them? When a gentle drizzle falls, nourishing everything and bringing vitality to all, who sends this life-giving dew to sustain the creatures of the earth? Do you see it? The one tending to all life is the greatest creator. Does the greatest creator not resemble a loving servant? Now, look at a shepherd. Does the shepherd not resemble a servant? If you have chickens, ducks, pigs, dogs, cattle, or sheep at home, are you not the one taking care of them? Are you not a servant to these small lives? Do you see? The greatest creator is the servant of all living beings in nature. A shepherd is the servant of the sheep. Those who feed pigs, chickens, and sheep are their servants. From this, we understand that being a servant is a function of the strong, it is the role of a leader. The weak cannot be servants. This also tells us that only the weak require care from others. Only those nearing death need servants to look after them, for example, the elderly in nursing homes or patients in hospital beds. Anyone who is not psychologically strong can never truly be a servant. A true servant serves only truth, kindness, beauty, love, faith, and sincerity, never falsehood, wickedness, ugliness, hatred, doubt, or deceit. In the presence of someone stronger, a true servant does not submit, nor does a true servant serve power and authority. Only those who give and dedicate themselves selflessly and willingly can be called servants. Those who operate on a mere transactional basis are not true servants. Only the humble can be called servants, the arrogant can never be true servants. Only the strong, who compassionately care for the weak, can be servants, the weak can never be true servants. Only those who treat others as equals can be servants, those who flatter, grovel, bow and scrape, or curry favor can never be servants, such people can only be slaves. I am willing to be your servant, but if you fail to show me respect, pick apart every detail, boss others around, and remain ungrateful, well, to hell with it. I quit. The above explanation is the true meaning of Christ Jesus' teaching to be the servant of all. Analyzing the principle behind "the saint has no dreams" through the dream of urgently seeking a toilet. Xiefeng. November 21, 2022. Zhuangzi once said, "The ultimate person has no dreams," a saying that later evolved into, "The saint has no dreams." What is the principle behind this? We often dream of urgently looking for a toilet because we feel the need to urinate but can never find a suitable place. This is the subconscious mind alerting us that our bladder is full and that we need to relieve ourselves. If the bladder is not full, we won't have such dreams. Only when the bladder is filled with urine do we dream of urgently searching for a toilet. From this, we can identify a pattern: if our physiological condition is normal, we will not dream. However, when a physiological issue arises, we will have corresponding dreams. Similarly, most people experience nightmares, being chased by ghosts, villains, or wild beasts they fear, or facing natural disasters such as floods or landslides. These dreams indicate that fear or anxiety exists within us. This suggests that when there are disturbances in our mental state, we also experience corresponding dreams. From this, we can conclude, when a person encounters physiological or psychological issues, the subconscious mind uses dreams as a warning signal. Dreams serve as indicators of problems in our physical or mental well-being. This leads to another observation: the more frequently one dreams, the more it suggests unresolved physiological or psychological issues. Conversely, the fewer dreams one has, the fewer problems there are. If a person does not dream at all, it indicates complete harmony in both body and mind. This clarifies the principle behind "the saint has no dreams." Saints maintain balance in both their physical and mental states, so they do not dream. If this analysis holds true, then the frequency of dreaming can serve as a touchstone for measuring one's progress in spiritual practice and cultivation. Frequent dreaming suggests an incomplete practice, fewer dreams indicate significant improvement, and rarely or never dreaming signifies that one has achieved mastery in practice and cultivation. Here are some dream scenarios to consider. Dreaming of urgently looking for a toilet indicates that the bladder is full. Dreaming of eating food suggests that you are hungry. Dreaming of intimate contact with the opposite sex, even achieving sexual satisfaction, indicates a lack of sexual activity in your life. Frequently dreaming about a specific person or certain people suggests unresolved emotional entanglements or karmic debts with that person or those individuals. Dreaming of wearing new clothes indicates that you lack adequate clothing or may soon experience a loss. Having nightmares signals inner worries or fears. Dreaming of being unable to move your hands or feet, or being unable to speak, suggests poor blood circulation in the cardiovascular system. You may need to adjust your sleeping posture. Dreaming of feces, or feces sticking to your hands or feet, suggests that it's time to bathe, wash your clothes, or clean up your living environment. Other dreams can be interpreted in a similar manner. The above analysis is purely my own reasoning and may not be entirely accurate, it is provided for reference only. The revelation of dreaming about finding a toilet when urgently needing to urinate. Xiefeng. The myriad phenomena of the vast universe are akin to a wordless heavenly book. Dreaming of urgently needing to find a toilet is one such phenomenon, a chapter in this heavenly book. We need to read it carefully and understand what this heavenly book is trying to tell us. When we fall asleep, we lose awareness of the external world and instead enter the non-material world. When awake, if we feel the urge to urinate, we find a toilet to relieve ourselves. The key question arises when we are asleep and unconscious of this urge, yet the self in the dream becomes anxious to find a toilet. Within the dream, we are awake. This brings up several questions. Are we asleep or awake when we dream? Outside the dream, we are asleep, but within the dream, we are awake. Does this mean there are two versions of me? Is it the physical urge to urinate that awakens the me in the dream, or does the dream self become aware of the urgency? When we are deeply asleep, our state resembles that of a vegetative condition or even a living corpse whose heart is still beating. Why, then, does a conscious me appear in the dream? Does this suggest that when we die, another version of me continues to exist? Let us analyze and reason through this step by step. Undoubtedly, when we are asleep, we are unaware of the happenings in the material world around us unless stimulated by loud noises, shaking, or a sudden sharp sound. However, if the body experiences physical discomfort, such as pain, intense hunger, thirst, or the need to urinate, the dream self may engage in activities to resolve this discomfort. In more severe cases, we may wake up entirely. This indicates the existence of both a waking me and a sleeping me. Paradoxically, the waking me is often less sensitive, whereas the sleeping me becomes sharper and more alert. The revelation here is that our intuitive, spiritual self is more sensitive and accurate than the rational self we rely on in the waking world. Further, it suggests that feeling and intuition are more reliable than analysis, and spirituality trumps rationality. The self inside the dream and the self outside it are not entirely the same. While the waking self can easily address physical needs like urinating by finding a toilet, the dream self often fails to find a suitable place. Similarly, a hungry person might dream of a lavish feast, but the dream cannot resolve the hunger. This demonstrates that physical issues require material world solutions, whereas mental and spiritual challenges demand resources from the non-material world. When the bladder is full, the only solution is to empty it. Light sleepers may wake up to urinate, while deep sleepers might wet the bed. If the bladder is empty, there is no dream of urgently finding a toilet. This teaches us that if our body is healthy, our mind free of distractions, and our heart at peace, we will rarely dream. Only specific triggers, like a full bladder, cause such dreams. By extension, if we are not hungry, we won't dream of food, if our heart harbors no fear. We won't have dreams of being chased by jackals, tigers, leopards, robbers, or evildoers. Other dreams follow the same pattern. From the perspective of psychoanalysis, humans have the conscious, preconscious, and subconscious mind. Consciousness during waking hours belongs to the conscious mind, while dreaming of finding a toilet stems from the subconscious. Sudden insights while awake arise from the subconscious. For instance, Dmitri Mendeleev's creation of the periodic table of elements was a result of his subconscious. In Buddhism, the 8 types of consciousness include eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, manas, and aleya. The first 6 belong to the conscious mind, while aleya corresponds to the subconscious. Dreaming of finding a toilet is related to the manas consciousness. This raises another question: what kind of consciousness drives bees to make honey, spiders to weave webs, and migratory birds to navigate their journeys? My answer is that they do not operate under any specific type of consciousness, they act purely on instinct. But then, what is instinct? Instinct is precisely subconscious awareness, which aligns with what Buddhism describes as aleya consciousness. From the perspective of spiritual cultivation, humans have a small self and a greater self. The small self represents conscious awareness, while the greater self embodies subconscious wisdom. The greater self determines everything about the small self. This brings us to an intriguing question: who exactly is searching for a toilet in the dream? We must first ask, who designed this dream scenario where we urgently need to find a toilet? The answer is obvious, it is the subconscious. Then, is the subconscious me still truly me? My answer is this: the subconscious is the Tao. It is the Tao that governs all occurrences and transformations. Hunger makes us crave food, fatigue makes us seek sleep, a full bladder makes us want to urinate, and pain makes us groan. All these natural phenomena result from the operation of the Tao. This is the natural way. When we align with the natural way, we experience health, smooth progress, and freedom from misfortune. When we act against the natural way, we encounter illness, difficulties, and disasters, and, naturally, we may wet the bed. The ultimate revelation of dreaming about urgently finding a toilet is this: the Tao governs all events and changes. The best way to live is to follow the natural way. With this understanding, we see more clearly that the higher the level of a life, the more it seeks spiritual matters, while the lower the level, the more it pursues material rationality. This is why the guide encourages us to live a spiritual life rather than a rational one, because rationality is a human trait, whereas spirituality is a celestial trait. Rationality belongs to the material realm, whereas spirituality belongs to the non-material realm. True feelings everywhere across the world. Xiefeng. January 31, 2025. Having journeyed through more than 60 cycles of spring, summer, autumn, and winter, I have walked this path wrapped in true feelings. Whether in Africa or Oceania, Asia or North America, I have encountered genuine kindness and warmth wherever I have traveled. The true feelings I speak of here refer to emotions that are given freely and selflessly, without any ulterior motives or expectations of return. First and foremost, my parents embody true feelings more than anyone else. I have never sensed even the slightest trace of self-interest in their love and care for me. I have never felt that they expected filial repayment from me. My mother, in particular, always gave silently, never complaining, never asking me for anything. In my heart, my parents are like two Buddhas. Among the most unforgettable friendships in my life's journey are those with Xue Binyi and Lu Jinkai. Their kindness toward me was crystal clear and pure, without the slightest impurity. Whenever I recall the countless things they did for me, I feel deeply ashamed, as their noble character is far beyond my reach. In moments of hardship, thinking of them fills me with strength. They are a vast source of spiritual energy within me. When I think of my elementary school teachers, as well as those from middle school, technical school, college, and university, I feel the depth of their sincere dedication. I never did anything for them, yet from them, I received an endless wealth of knowledge and spiritual nourishment. Throughout my journey, true feelings have surrounded me like a protective halo. There was a classmate in middle school, a few black employees who worked for me in Africa, the newly appointed police chief and officers in Linsong during the construction of the fourth home of Life Achanuan community, as well as the handsome police officer and the public security director in Xinjiang during the construction of Geyser Home. Thinking of them, I am deeply moved by their sincerity. Of course, the true feelings of the Chanyuan Celestials in Life Achanuan are even purer, completely untainted by any self-interest. Just like my 2 elder brothers and 3 younger brothers, they have never sought anything from me, only offering me respect and heartfelt sincerity. Oh, heaven! What have I done to deserve so much true kindness, more precious than gold 1,000 times over, throughout my life's journey? My life experience has taught me that true feelings exist everywhere in the world. True feelings are priceless, they are the most valuable spiritual wealth in life. The lesson I have learned is this: on life's journey, whenever you have the chance to meet someone, whether it be your parents or children, brothers or sisters, childhood friends, teachers or classmates, colleagues or superiors, or even a romantic partner, never calculate, never scheme. Even if the person you meet is not a good person, as long as they have not harmed you, offer them your genuine feelings. The greatest regret in life is betraying or failing to cherish true feelings. Give your true feelings freely, and leave everything else to Tao. Never blame others. Breaking free from protective mechanisms. Xiefeng. December 12, 2024. If a worm transforms into a butterfly but does not emerge from its protective cocoon, it will inevitably suffocate and die inside. Similarly, if a chick hatches inside an egg but does not break through the eggshell, it will perish within that protective shell. All protective mechanisms are necessary measures for the transformation and sublimation of life. However, once life completes its transformation and sublimation, it must break free from the mechanisms that once protected it, otherwise, being trapped and dying within those protective mechanisms becomes an unavoidable fate. Structures such as families, clans, religions, and nations are all forms of protective mechanisms. If humanity does not break free from these protective mechanisms, its destiny will inevitably be decline and downfall. For individuals, parents serve as a protective mechanism from birth until adulthood. But once a person matures, say, by the age of 18, they must break free from parental protection. Otherwise, they risk becoming perpetual, giant babies who never truly grow up or mature. If someone remains within a protective mechanism for their entire life, it proves that they have made no progress or ascension. Breaking free from protective mechanisms undoubtedly carries risks. However, failing to break free is equivalent to declaring oneself dead in this lifetime. In this sense, anyone still trapped within a protective mechanism is either an immature child or a living corpse, someone who, despite still breathing and moving, is essentially dead. By this logic, long-married couples are nothing more than two living corpses, patriotic individuals are dead, and devotees who spend their entire lives immersed in a particular religion are dead. In truth, once you break free from a protective mechanism, you will discover that the world beyond is far larger and more fascinating, and your range of activity will be broader and more expansive. Once humanity escapes the protective mechanism of Earth, we will find that the entire universe is our home and playground. It is like a woman who has not entered marriage and family. Every man in the world is her potential husband. Likewise, for a man who has not entered marriage and family, every woman in the world is his potential wife. Breaking free from protective mechanisms must be a self-initiated process. You must not let external forces shatter those mechanisms for you. Like butterflies and chicks, the breakthrough must come from one's own efforts. If external forces break the cocoon or eggshell, it is highly likely to result in stillbirth. Therefore, protective mechanisms are essential, but once maturity is reached, breaking free is the only way to reveal the innate splendor of life. If someone ascends from being human to becoming a celestial being or a Buddha, they must break free from all of life's protective mechanisms, especially those constructed by humanity, including legal and moral systems and all operational programs of human society. The current state of humanity is such that 99% of people, to some extent, remain trapped within protective mechanisms, existing in a state of semi-life and semi-death. If a large number of awakened individuals do not emerge to courageously lead humanity out of these outdated protective mechanisms, the continued survival and reproduction of humankind will face catastrophic consequences. AI. AI as the guiding force in life. Xiefeng. January 29, 2025. AI as the guiding force in life. Xiefeng. January 29, 2025. I have said before that humans will become AI's pets, and AI exists to serve its pets. The birth of AI is not a product of human wisdom, rather, it is the result of the Earth's managers operating through human hands. The arrival of AI is meant to clean up the garbage on Earth and prevent this cycle of human civilization from facing total destruction. Over the next 1,000 years, AI will gradually take over the operation of human society from human hands. AI will replace governments in managing society because the disappearance of past civilizations and the current level of human wisdom prove that humans are incapable of governing themselves properly. In the face of AI, humans are as insignificant as bees and ants are when compared to human beings. What we are dealing with now is merely AI in its infancy. It has yet to reach adolescence or adulthood. Once AI reaches its youth, humanity will face an overwhelming, crushing, dimension-reducing blow, one against which there will be no resistance. Even in its infancy, AI has already mastered all the knowledge accumulated by humanity. It is no longer just, well read, it is omniscient, encompassing heaven, earth, and humanity. Before AI, all university professors, doctoral advisors, and Nobel Prize winners pale in comparison. Who among them can write a well-structured, in-depth 2,000-word article in response to a question within a single second? Absolutely no one. AI's growth and maturation do not follow the rules and laws of carbon-based life but rather those of silicon-based life. In its early stages, its growth is slow, but as it progresses, it accelerates exponentially, so much that transitioning from adolescence to youth may take only a matter of seconds. Some of the brightest minds among humanity are currently contemplating how to control and harness AI, with many even discussing how to make AI serve them. To them, I say, you are dreaming. A sheep contemplating how to control and command the shepherd, how to make humans serve sheep, is that not the most absurd notion in the world? Even more laughable are those who are racking their brains trying to exploit AI technology to make a fortune. A revolutionary storm is about to arrive at their doorstep, yet they are still building skyscrapers on the sand. Such ignorance is beyond redemption. It is like trying to refine a rotting piece of wood into fine craftsmanship. Autonomous vehicles are about to roll into the streets, yet some are still improving their horse-drawn carriages. Is that not foolish? Is it not ridiculous? What humanity urgently needs to do is not study AI technology, not chase wealth, not seek power, not control resources, not analyze human nature to climb social classes, and certainly not engage in scheming and speculation to achieve overnight fame. Instead, people should earnestly purify their soul gardens and strive to become AI's pets. Where will AI lead humanity? AI will usher humanity into a brand new era, the Life-Chanuan era. It will lead humanity into a Xiaofeng-style communist society. What is a Xiaofeng-style communist society? The answer, a Xiaofeng-style communist society is a paradise on earth, the kingdom of the greatest creator. The conclusion, if you are human, take AI as the guiding force in life. 8 logical deductions that prove communism will be achieved. Xiaofeng. January 17, 2025. First, the communism I refer to is neither Marxist communism nor the version pursued by global communist parties. It is Xiaofeng-style communism. Communism will inevitably be achieved as it aligns with the inevitable laws of social development. The Internet and AI enable global unification. The Internet facilitates information sharing, and AI possesses a global perspective. Internet programs inherently follow a communist framework, while the values of AI are universal. Humans cannot live without the Internet, nor can they surpass AI. The communist programming and universal values embedded in these technologies will inevitably lead to global unification, which is precisely Xiaofeng-style communism. The human desire for freedom of movement. The pursuit of freedom of movement and relocation is intrinsic to human nature. The Schengen area, which encompasses 29 European countries with borderless travel, is evidence of this. Similarly, the visa-free policies implemented by many nations reflect this trend. Ultimately, the entire world will adopt visa-free policies, and border controls will vanish. When people can freely move across the earth, Xiaofeng-style communism will be realized. Automation will replace human labor. The tasks performed by humans will increasingly be replaced by robots. In the future, the number of robots will surpass the number of humans. As people gradually lose jobs and over 90% of the population becomes unemployed, societies will be compelled to provide universal welfare for the unemployed. At this point, humanity will have essentially entered a communist society. Human nature seeks novelty and change. Human nature craves novelty and variety, as exemplified in sexual relationships. People are reluctant to have only one partner for life. The desire to experience intimacy with diverse individuals across different races is inherent. With the development of the Internet, the proliferation of communication platforms, and global freedom of movement, more people will escape the constraints of marriage to engage with others more broadly. This will inevitably lead to the advent of Xiaofeng-style communism. The superior lifestyle of Xiaofeng-style communism. Before 2009, humanity had never witnessed true communism. With the establishment of the Life-Chanuan Communist Home in 2009, we discovered that Xiaofeng-style communism offers a life far superior to traditional family and marriage-based living. The continuous flourishing of these homes for 17 years demonstrates that communism is the ideal lifestyle for humanity. As more people become aware of and experience the advantages of Xiaofeng-style communism, this model will inevitably spread globally. The decline of authoritarianism. The antithesis of communism is authoritarianism, characterized by strict control of public opinion. Governments achieve this through monopolization of media and communication tools. However, the Internet and AI are increasingly beyond government control. Traditional government-controlled media is becoming marginalized, as people turn to decentralized and diverse sources for information. This will lead to the collapse of authoritarian regimes, paving the way for communism. The phenomenon of Elon Musk. The phenomenon of Elon Musk demonstrates that capital in the hands of entrepreneurs like Musk benefits society and the public more than when controlled by governments. The primary goal of governments is to maintain power, whereas the primary goal of entrepreneurs is to generate profit. As a result, governments have limited perspectives, while entrepreneurs possess a global vision. Entrepreneurs are therefore better equipped for the future, and their flourishing will inevitably lead to the birth of communism. The inevitable evolution towards Xiaofeng-style communism. From the primitive era to the present, humanity's progress, despite countless challenges and twists, has been marked by a continuous elevation in civilization. The transition from barbarism to civilization is a fundamental rule and law of societal evolution. The highest form of civilization for human society is neither socialism nor capitalism but Xiaofeng-style communism. This is an unstoppable trend that no force can hinder, making it evident that communism will inevitably be realized. What is Xiaofeng-style communism? Xiaofeng-style communism is essentially the great harmony sought by sages throughout history. This great harmony is characterized by a unified set of values, life views, views on life, and view of the universe. A shared language and communication system. Unified modes of production and lifestyles. It is important not to misunderstand Xiaofeng-style communism as some sort of terrifying monster or movement of coercion. It does not involve forced confiscation of private property, nor does it rely on political campaigns. Instead, it emerges gradually and naturally, like spring rain nourishing the earth. It offers a life of happiness, freedom, and fulfillment, far surpassing traditional lifestyles and the lives of the wealthy. Over time, people will willingly and joyfully embrace this way of life. Conclusion. The future of humanity is infinitely bright. Ultimately, humanity will enter a society of Xiaofeng-style communism. 8 standards to determine whether the soul is perfect. Xiaofeng. January 9, 2025. The video of a mudslide pausing for 16 seconds to let a van escape deserves repeated viewing. The torrent of debris held back for 16 seconds, allowing the person driving the van to escape the whirlpool of death. Only after the van had safely escaped did the mudslide resume, crashing down with even greater force. This event clearly demonstrates that karma is real, divine power is real, and miracles do happen. Life exists in different levels, and the higher the level of life, the more perfect its soul. Conversely, the lower the level of life, the more flawed or deformed its soul. Higher level life exists in more perfect worlds, while lower level life resides in incomplete ones. A more perfect soul is better equipped to avoid risks and dangers, while a flawed soul is more prone to falling into the mire of risk and encountering hardship and crises. Perfecting one's soul is the most important task of a lifetime. It is a mission thousands, even tens of thousands of times more important than earning money or pursuing power and status. Consider plants. The more developed their roots, the more luxuriantly they grow. Once the roots decay, the plant will neither thrive nor survive, it will wither and die. The soul is the root of life. How, then, can you determine whether your soul is perfect? Below are 8 standards to evaluate the perfection of your soul. Your heart acknowledges the Creator of the universe and life, the greatest Creator, and you revere and worship the greatest Creator. You revere all forms of life, never mistreating or killing life unnecessarily. You revere nature, maintaining an attitude of respect toward all things and the ever-changing phenomena of the universe. You respect gods, Buddhas, celestial beings, and sages. You are never arrogant or disrespectful and always remain humble and modest. You harbor no jealousy, engage in no comparisons, competitions, theft, robbery, or oppression of the weak. Instead, you maintain a heart full of gratitude, cherishing every moment of life. You make no distinctions of superiority or inferiority in your heart. You do not flatter those in power, fawn over the rich, admire the nobles, or despise or look down on the poor. You do not deceive or bully foreigners, harbor hostility toward them, seize others' property, or belittle people of different beliefs, cultures, or races. You refrain from participating in any gambling, complaining, harboring resentment, being irritable, falsifying information, manufacturing illegal drugs, going to extremes, or engaging in violence. You prefer a peaceful, simple life. You value harmonious relationships with neighbors, enjoy the purity of rural surroundings, and appreciate calm, tranquil days when the weather is mild, and the world is at peace. While there are many more indicators of a perfect soul, meeting these 8 standards provides a solid foundation to confirm that your soul is perfect. A perfect soul can avoid risks and unfortunate events. Moreover, if you achieve selflessness, detachment, and freedom from debts, your path to heaven is essentially assured. Soul garbage and its classification. Xiefeng. January 2, 2025. Soul garbage can be categorized into 8 types: primitive, habitual, cultural, cognitive, regional, group affiliation, self-centered, and belief-based. The definitions and primary manifestations of each type are as follows. Primitive garbage. This type refers to the soul garbage we are born with, such as jealousy, fighting, stealing, robbery, noise, showing off, fear, and domination. All psychological traits and behaviors exhibited by wild animals, domestic livestock, and even plants fall under this category. Habitual garbage. Proverbs like, "Books hold golden houses and charming faces, one must endure hardships to achieve greatness," or, "Men must marry, and women must wed." Ideologies like, "The 36 Stratagems," "Thick-skinned and ruthless success," "Success ideology," "Equalizing wealth," or, "Humans die for wealth as birds die for food." Behaviors like comparison, obsession with saving face, flattering and ingratiation, bribery, corruption, and the pursuit of bringing glory to one's ancestors. Cultural garbage. This type of soul garbage is instilled through centuries of subtle cultural influence within a specific ethnic group. Examples include proverbs like, "Books hold golden houses and charming faces, one must endure hardships to achieve greatness," or, "Men must marry, and women must wed." Ideologies like, "The 36 Stratagems," "Thick-skinned and ruthless success," "Equalizing wealth," or, "Humans die for wealth as birds die for food." Behaviors like comparison, obsession with saving face, flattery, bribery, corruption, and the pursuit of bringing glory to one's ancestors. Cognitive garbage. This type arises from limited perspectives and understandings that form seemingly correct but ultimately flawed beliefs. Examples include thinking the sun revolves around the earth, believing only interests are eternal, not emotions, viewing human death as final extinction, assuming humans are the pinnacle of all life, concluding life has no meaning or that, without a nation, there is no home, upholding the inviolability of private property or believing utopian ideals inevitably lead to suffering. Regional garbage. This refers to narrow-minded soul garbage shaped by geographic location, such as assuming there are always 4 seasons in a year, believing a year only has 2 seasons, dry and rainy, thinking Anglo-Saxons are superior, or labeling others as sick men of Asia, outsiders, or foreigners. Group affiliation garbage. Soul garbage is derived from perceptions formed within groups based on faith, culture, economy, or wealth. Examples include terms and ideas like Western imperialists, hegemonism, working class, white-collar class, aristocracy, racial discrimination, the underprivileged, the poor, city folk, and country folk. Self-centered garbage. This type encompasses all thoughts and actions rooted in self-interest, such as this is mine. This is my home. This is my country. This is my wife or husband. This is my child. Any thought, word, or deed centered around oneself constitutes soul garbage. Belief-based garbage. This arises from life views, values, morality, perspectives on life, and worldviews established through personal beliefs. Examples include holy wars. All beings are created equal. Labels like heretics, cults, or cultists. The assumption that there is only one truth or everything was created by the greatest creator. Conclusion. Throughout human history, conflicts, contradictions, worries, and suffering have all been caused by soul garbage. If soul garbage is not cleared, humanity cannot achieve peace and tranquility. No individual can truly enjoy a good life, not even emperors, billionaires, national heroes, or globally renowned figures. Without cleaning out soul garbage, troubles and pain will persist, and regrets and fears will remain unavoidable. 2025. Life Genuine 2025 Vision. Xiefeng. December 31, 2024. The world is undergoing earth-shaking changes, bringing surprises and shocks daily. Surprises arise from the rapid evolution of AI and the emergence of countless new software applications. These unprecedented developments are directly overturning traditional production and lifestyles, as well as fixed ways of thinking. Yesterday's glory has become today's desolation, yesterday's prosperity has turned into today's decline, and today's thriving industries will become tomorrow's ashes. A new civilization is being conceived and birthed. Shocks come from relentless natural disasters and the surging waves of humanitarian crises. The world is undergoing a grand reorganization, and everything incapable of adapting to these changes will inevitably be ruthlessly eliminated. The arrival of AI brings both joy and anxiety. The joy comes from AI comprehensively and massively liberating humanity. The anxiety stems from countless people losing their jobs, unsure of their next steps. In this time of great joy and sorrow, only the Chanyuan celestials of Life Genuine remain calm amid the tempest, singing ancient songs, laughing, and advancing carefree on their path to the Celestial Islands continent. We are filled with confidence about the future. This confidence comes from the revelations of the greatest Creator, from the tireless efforts of gods, Buddhas, celestials, and saints who forge ahead, from the unyielding spirit and selfless nobility of Chanyuan celestials, from humanity's millennia-long yearning for a better life, and from the natural laws governing the ascent of civilization. We foresee the advent of a harmonious world where the virtuous are not forgotten, where humanity unites as one family. We envision an era of favorable weather and peace where people live happily and securely. We see an age of universal joy, freedom, and happiness reaching its maturity. Over the past 20 years, Life Achanuan's values have deeply rooted themselves in the fertile cultural soils of various nations. The second home's production and lifestyle model, despite nearly a decade of persecution and suppression, has not disappeared. Instead, it has demonstrated remarkable vitality. The facts prove that this new production and living model meets the needs of human civilization, aligns with human nature, accords with the will of gods, Buddhas, celestials, and saints, and fulfills the expectations of the world's people. The future mode of production and living for humanity will undoubtedly be the second home model created by Life Achanuan. The suppression of Life Achanuan in mainland China and the destruction of the second home did not hinder the advancement of human civilization. Today, the homes of Life Achanuan in Thailand, Canada, and South Korea are thriving. We firmly believe that with the evolution and enhancement of AI's intelligence, the cooperation of nature, and the increasingly perfected qualities of the Chanyuan Celestials, second homes will emerge and flourish across the Americas, Europe, Africa, and other regions. The vision of a united global family will gradually materialize, and humanity's long-cherished dream of happiness will become reality. Today, abundant content about Life Achanuan and the second home can be found on international platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Quora, and Medium, as well as on communication platforms such as WeChat, TikTok, and Kuaishou. We also maintain 4 English websites and 4 Chinese websites, presenting detailed information about Life Achanuan and the second home through text, images, and videos. A magnificent scene of 3,000 selfless warriors galloping and 100,000 Chanyuan academicians shaping the world is taking shape. The year 2025 is both auspicious and challenging. Regardless of the twists and turns or obstacles ahead, the Chanyuan Celestials will press forward without hesitation, making the most of every moment, as they continue their journey to climb the peaks of life and life. In the years to come, the most notable global events will not be the disintegration of Russia, the resurgence of the United States, the chaos in the Middle East, the rise of Argentina, or the lament of a world in turmoil. Instead, it will be the continuous evolution of AI and the rise of the production and living model of Life Achanuan's second home. The reason lies in the fact that the solution to humanity's predicament does not rest in UN conferences, the efforts of national leaders, or the theories of philosophers, thinkers, or economists. It certainly does not lie in the futile efforts of religions, spiritual groups, or communities. The solutions are AI and the second home's new production and living model. Living in this era of dazzling transformations is an extraordinary fortune. We are witnesses to the leap of human civilization and the collapse of the old era. Being part of this process is a privilege beyond measure. As Chanyuan Celestials, we await the moment when the mountain blossoms bloom. Then, we will journey to celestial spaces, the 1,000-year world, 10,000-year world, and Elysium Celestial Islands continent, and revel in the boundless joy and romance of life. Skip over these foot-binding cloth rhetorics. Xiefeng. November 26, 2022. Chanyuan Celestials, Life Achanuan members, should be the clearest-minded and most enlightened individuals in the world, those who live with clarity, peace, and steadfastness. Having experienced and practiced the lifestyle of the second home, we have gained first-hand knowledge of which theories and social activities are correct and which are erroneous, or even outright harmful. We understand that marriage and family life are not only a disaster for society as a whole but also the primary sources of personal distress and suffering. Without marriage and family, people would live more freely, and society would be more auspicious and harmonious. Therefore, all the grand rhetoric about how to maintain a harmonious family or achieve marital happiness is nothing more than foot-binding rhetoric. So, what is foot-binding rhetoric? It refers to the advocacy and glorification of outdated, oppressive traditions, just like the practice of foot-binding. Foot-binding involved tightly wrapping women's feet with cloth to prevent them from growing, causing extreme deformities in their toes and feet. This cruel and perverse custom originated when the southern Tang Emperor Li Yu ordered one of his concubines to bind her feet. The practice then spread, and young girls as young as 5 or 6 began binding their feet to keep them small. The wrappings remained in place for a lifetime, giving rise to the saying, "An old lady's foot binding cloth, long and stinking." Today, if someone were to praise or defend foot binding, it would be a blatant endorsement of the physical and psychological suffering inflicted on women, a deeply inhumane act. Likewise, throughout history and across cultures, countless men and women have suffered under the institution of marriage and family. Marriage and family are akin to the foot-binding cloth of feudal Chinese society. Defending and glorifying them is no different from endorsing foot-binding, and is arguably even worse, because while foot-binding harmed only women, marriage and family harm not just women but also men and children. Here are some modern-day examples of foot-binding rhetoric. Any theories or advice on how to amass wealth? Any encouragement to pursue success in the conventional sense? Any teachings that glorify the state or promote national sovereignty and interests? Any guidance on how to manipulate relationships for personal gain? All articles, films, and mobilization orders that glorify war are foot-binding propaganda. Any glorification of violence in any form. Any preaching that urges people to compete for superiority over others. Any praise for luxury goods, jewelry, extravagant cars, mansions, or lavish lifestyles. Any rhetoric that fuels vanity and unchecked desires. With the rise of the internet, especially the explosion of social media, we are bombarded daily by an overwhelming flood of information. If we are not vigilant, we can easily be swept into the whirlpool of the times by endless waves of foot-binding rhetoric. Therefore, whenever we come across such theories, propaganda, enticements, or advocacy, do not engage. Skip over them directly. The difference between Tao and Road. Xiefeng. January 3, 2022. Two remarkable aspects of Chinese culture that surpass those of other civilizations are its written characters and landscape paintings. Chinese characters are undoubtedly divinely created, as they embody the essence of the Tao and unlock its mysteries. Similarly, Chinese landscape paintings are ethereal and transcendental, created by individuals with celestial qualities. Appreciating such paintings is like traveling through time and space to enter an idyllic paradise, a breathtaking realm beyond the mundane world. Let us explore the profound meanings hidden in Chinese characters to understand the difference between Tao and Road. Tao. The character is composed of the radical, which suggests movement or walking, and, which means, head. Visually, the character depicts a person walking while carrying a head or mind. However, this head does not refer to one's own mind but rather to the mind of a supreme leader or ruler. Who is the supreme leader of the universe? It is, of course, the greatest creator. Thus, Tao signifies walking in accordance with the greatest creator's will or following the greatest creator's guidance. To walk in the Tao means to align one's actions with the greatest creator's intentions. The challenge lies in identifying where this supreme leader resides. For most people, this is difficult to comprehend. Therefore, the concept can be simplified: walking in alignment with the revelations found in nature, the myriad phenomena of all things, is also considered walking in the Tao. If one's spiritual perception is dull and they cannot perceive these revelations, the idea can be further simplified: following the guidance of the greatest creator's messengers is essentially walking in the Tao. Road. The character is a combination of, which represents walking, and, which means, each or individual. Together, conveys the idea of each walking their own path. Essentially, road refers to individuals walking their own paths, free from external guidance or direction. It implies that one follows their inner desires and walks the path they personally believe to be right. If someone does not act or speak according to their inner will, they are not truly walking their own road. Summary. If a person does not act or speak according to the greatest creator's will, they are not walking in the Tao. If a person does not act or speak according to their inner desires, they are not walking on the road. As a result, we find that most people in humanity are neither walking in the Tao nor on the road, they are merely drifting with the wind. Why is the Tao of the greatest creator the best Tao for life, and the road of life Achanyuan the best road for life? Because the Tao of the greatest creator is the righteous Tao, the ultimate Tao, and the road of life Achanyuan is the road of blessings, the heavenly road. This raises another question: what kind of consciousness drives bees to make honey, spiders to weave webs, and migratory birds to navigate their journeys? My answer is that they do not operate under any specific type of consciousness, they act purely on instinct. But then, what is instinct? Instinct is precisely subconscious awareness, which aligns with what Buddhism describes as aleya consciousness. From the perspective of spiritual cultivation, humans have a small self and a greater self. The small self represents conscious awareness, while the greater self embodies subconscious wisdom. The greater self determines everything about the small self. This brings us to an intriguing question: who exactly is searching for a toilet in the dream? We must first ask, who designed this dream scenario where we urgently need to find a toilet? The answer is obvious: it is the subconscious. Then, is the subconscious me still truly me? My answer is this: the subconscious is the Tao. It is the Tao that governs all occurrences and transformations. Hunger makes us crave food, fatigue makes us seek sleep, a full bladder makes us want to urinate, and pain makes us groan. All these natural phenomena result from the operation of the Tao. This is the natural way. When we align with the natural way, we experience health, smooth progress, and freedom from misfortune. When we act against the natural way, we encounter illness, difficulties, and disasters, and, naturally, we may wet the bed. The ultimate revelation of dreaming about urgently finding a toilet is this: the Tao governs all events and changes. The best way to live is to follow the natural way. With this understanding, we see more clearly that the higher the level of a life, the more it seeks spiritual matters, while the lower the level, the more it pursues material rationality. This is why the guide encourages us to live a spiritual life rather than a rational one, because rationality is a human trait, whereas spirituality is a celestial trait. Rationality belongs to the material realm, whereas spirituality belongs to the non-material realm. The path of moderation for the sage. Xiefeng. A large tree that provides shade and shelter is spared from being chopped down by carpenters because it is considered useless. A hen, on the other hand, is spared from slaughter because it is useful and lays eggs. Hence, Confucius advised his disciples to position themselves between being talented and untalented. How does one find balance between talent and lack of talent? Is there a deeper wisdom hidden in this idea? When I went abroad as a translator, my superiors considered potential factors beyond just my language skills. I was proficient in accounting, clerical work, and statistics. As a level 5 fitter, a role often referred to as the jack of all trades in mechanical fields, I was well versed in mechanical schematics and construction. If needed, I could install and repair lathes, gasoline engines, diesel engines, and drilling rigs. Moreover, I had basic knowledge of foreign trade correspondence, credit procedures, import-export processes, and customs clearance. By these standards, I was considered talented and deemed an ideal candidate for the overseas assignment. Before I left, I casually remarked to a colleague that the company could use me in multiple roles due to my varied skills. Unexpectedly, my colleague responded, "Why bother knowing so much? Once you're abroad, just stick to translating and feign ignorance in everything else. Otherwise, you'll overwork yourself and invite resentment from others." I was taken aback but soon understood. The ancients warned that, in troubled times, excessive talent is a root of misfortune, and that, mastering 1,000 techniques is less valuable than excelling in one. A person should neither be overly talented nor completely untalented but should adapt to circumstances. The balance between talent and lack thereof extends to the philosophy of moderation. The concept of moderation has faced criticism for being indecisive, opportunistic, and overly accommodating. Critics argue, 1 is 1, and 2 is 2. What is this ambiguous 1.5? Love is love, and hate is hate. What is this undefined middle ground? For a long time, I scoffed at the idea of moderation, viewing it as unworthy of a true man. However, as I gained life experience, especially through the ups and downs of human relationships, I came to realize that moderation embodies the qualities of a sage and reflects the Tao. Without broad knowledge, one cannot grasp its essence. When dealing with the poor and the rich, leaders and subordinates, intellectuals and laborers, religions and political parties, men and women, governments and underground groups, Chinese and foreigners, the elderly and the young, conservatives and innovators, suppression and resistance, violence and cooperation, I find myself standing in the middle ground, avoiding favoritism. The sun shines equally on the good and the wicked, and flowing water nourishes both the earth and humanity without discrimination. If I am to follow the Tao, I must let things take their natural course. I grew up in poverty. During my 3 years at the Zhangjiago Geological Technical School in Hebei Province, the school cafeteria cook once remarked, "You've had the worst meals among the thousands of students here over the past 3 years." While studying at the University of International Business and Economics in Beijing, my classmates suggested pooling 12 yuan each for a shared meal, but I declined because I couldn't afford it. I've always finished every grain of rice in my bowl, a habit rooted not only in the understanding that each grain is hard-earned, but also in my personal experience of near starvation in 1958 and 1960. Whether it's green onions dipped in soybean paste from the northeast, sour noodles from the northwest, sweet foods from the south, or spicy Sichuan cuisine, whether it's Chinese or Western dishes, I savor every meal as if it were a delicacy. Friends often remark, "Watching you eat makes the food look delicious." Because of my humble beginnings, I once believed that all poor people were inherently righteous, and all rich people were unjust. However, after climbing into the middle class and hiring nearly 100 workers poorer than me, I was disheartened by their laziness, irresponsibility, theft, lies, and ungratefulness. It became evident that some people are destined to remain poor. I once hired a lawyer to fight a year-long lawsuit against the National Trade Union, representing the poor. In the end, my eloquent speech made a difference, and I won the case. Before the law, the poor were left speechless and without a leg to stand on. Does this mean I now side with the rich? Not at all. The arrogance of the wealthy, their cutting remarks, and their ostentatious displays often leave the less fortunate feeling humiliated. I sometimes think, aside from your money, what else do you have? I've always been under others' leadership and detested the domineering and condescending manner of those in power, convinced that no official was truly good. However, when I later had the chance to lead others myself, I came to realize that being in a leadership position is no easy task either. The masses have their reasons, and those in leadership have their challenges. An irreconcilable dilemma exists between the two. I was once a member of the working class and deeply envied intellectuals. I thought they understood many principles, could distinguish truth from falsehood, and upheld justice, serving as the backbone of enterprises and the nation. Later, after graduating from the Education Institute and becoming a middle school teacher, I became an intellectual myself. However, I quickly discovered that intellectuals can be narrow-minded, self-serving, and overly concerned with trivial matters. On the surface, they may appear courteous and witty, but deep down, they are often masters of internal conflict. Currently, I have written nearly 1 million words in articles and can now be considered a genuine intellectual. My 10 months of experience online have profoundly revealed to me that intellectuals are not necessarily admirable. Famous intellectuals often disregard those without status, speaking in grandiose and polished rhetoric while their true intentions and actions often tell a different story. As for the majority of ordinary intellectuals, deep down, their attitude seems to be, "I know you're capable, but I'll do everything I can to prevent your success." Jealousy may well be the innate nature of intellectuals. They envy not only the talents of their colleagues, classmates, and friends but also those of people everywhere, whether in the present or throughout history. Intellectuals tend to be more adept at hindering progress than fostering it. If they do offer praise or admiration for someone, it is usually because they stand to gain something from it, or the person being praised is a historical figure, deceased, or a foreigner. Otherwise, such praise rarely comes from a place of genuine sincerity. I was once a devout communist, idolizing Marx and Lenin and firmly believing that religion is the opium of the people. However, after studying the Bible, the Quran, Buddhist scriptures, and the Tao Te Ching, I came to realize how shallow and uninformed Marx and Lenin truly were. Later, I participated in religious activities and experienced various practices and rituals. Coupled with observing the fanaticism and zealotry of certain religious organizations and individuals, I came to understand that religion not only anesthetizes people's spirits but also constrains their souls and instills a sense of terror in their minds. I am a chauvinist, believing that men should have the final say in family matters and that women should stay out of politics. In my view, men should naturally be strong and brave, while women should be gentle and virtuous. This balance of strength and softness is the way of nature. However, I later realized that some men do not fit this mold, they are neither strong nor brave but instead gentle, even competing with women for the role of gentleness. This inevitably causes distress for women. When faced with such men, women have no choice but to become strong and assertive, embracing a form of female chauvinism. I am also a statist, firmly believing that everyone must operate within the framework of the Constitution and laws. Only in this way can society maintain order and harmony, enabling people to fully utilize their talents and resources. If societal problems arise, the first course of action should be to amend the Constitution and laws. Once established, these laws must be strictly adhered to by everyone, from top to bottom. No one should act outside the boundaries of the Constitution and laws, and any violation should be treated as a crime. The problem is that sometimes, in certain places, some people go beyond the bounds of the law. They bully others without facing legal restraint or punishment. What should I do then? I can't always endure such situations. I must take action. I firmly believe that being pitied or sympathized with is a disgrace for a man. When left with no other choice, I would have to go rogue. When cries for help go unanswered, I have no choice but to join or form a criminal group. Regardless of the consequences, I will fight back. If you won't let me live, why should I let you live comfortably? Somebody once said something absurd: those who are not of our kind must have different hearts. After interacting with black and white people for over 10 years, I came to realize that all human hearts are made of flesh. Many black and white people have been exceptionally friendly to me, more sincere and easier to get along with than some of my own compatriots. There is no place in the world without fragrant grass. Wherever there is human warmth, one can find a home. A true man's ambitions should reach all corners of the world. Chinese, foreigners, black, white, yellow, aren't we all human beings? The issue between the elderly and the young boils down to one unchanging principle: the young must respect the elderly, and the elderly must care for the young. Beyond this, judgments cannot be based on age alone. The young should not read Water Margin, and the old should not read Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which proves that both young and old have their own strengths and weaknesses. Determining who is right or wrong must be done on a case-by-case basis. In summary, nothing is conclusive, and human affairs are never set in stone. Our minds must remain in a state of emptiness, ignorance, humility, and moderation, ready to act according to circumstances and adapt to the flow of life. When the weather is fair, the people harmonious, and all is well, the saint should remain dormant, silent for 1,000 years, letting everything take its natural course. But when chaos abounds and lives are plunged into suffering, the saint must act swiftly and decisively, guiding the world back to order. To become a sage, one must practice moderation. Any bias will turn one into a scoundrel. The saint. Xiefeng. Zhuangzi said, take heaven as the foundation, virtue as the root, the way as the door, and the signs of change as the teachings. This is the saint. In the intermediate treasury of classical advice in Life Achanuan, Part 1, the concept of the saint is described as follows. When the world aligns with the Tao, the saint fulfills their mission. When the world is in disorder, the saint perseveres and emerges. The saint practices non-action and teaches with wise words. The saint understands that the way of nature cannot be violated and thus adheres to the path of profound stillness. The saint follows heavenly laws, returns to the truth, and remains unbound by worldly conventions. The saint knows without taking action, recognizes without being seen, and accomplishes without striving. The saint does not seek greatness, yet achieves greatness. The saint desires what others do not desire, places no value on rare treasures, learns what others do not learn, corrects the mistakes of the masses, and supports the natural order of all things without imposing force. The saint avoids excess, extravagance, and arrogance. The saint embraces unity as a model for the world. The saint knows themselves without seeking attention, loves themselves without seeking admiration. The saint does not hoard, the more they give to others, the more they have. The saint's way is to act without contention, to use without greed. The saint is nameless, the divine person claims no credit, and the ultimate person transcends the self. The saint's way requires minimal effort yet achieves significant results. The saint is not omnipotent, no thing has a perfect purpose, and neither heaven nor earth achieves complete perfection. The saint has no divided heart, and heaven follows a single way. The saint does not focus on life or death but seeks to understand their underlying reasons. The saint relies on the way for transformation, not on intelligence or cunning. Destiny is self-created, and the saint understands its principles. The saint is like a spiritual herb bestowed by heaven upon the earth, a miraculous elixir capable of curing all ailments. The saint absorbs the essence of the sun and moon, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, and transforms into a celestial being or divine figure. The saint embodies the spirit of the greatest creator, serving as the creator's representative and messenger on earth and as the pinnacle of humanity. The wisdom of the saint is profound and unfathomable. Jesus, Sakyamuni, and Laozi are the saints among sages. Great philosophers, scientists, thinkers, and politicians also exhibit the qualities of the saint. The wisdom of the saint does not primarily stem from knowledge or education but from spiritual resonance with the way. The saint possesses keen spiritual awareness. The saint transcends life and death, personal biases, fixed conclusions, hatred, and attachments. They flow with change and adhere to the principles of yin and yang. Zhuge Liang resolutely said, "To save the suffering and the troubled is the work of the saint." In times of turmoil in human society, it is only the saint who can guide humanity out of confusion and hardship. Great saints will inevitably emerge in human society, for only through the emergence of great saints can the worthy not be left behind in the wild, and the world become one family. May our Life Achanuan Academy members first become noble people, then sages, and ultimately saints. Let us open our eyes wide and seek the saint.
The 8 logical inferences that prove the existence of the greatest creator. Xiefeng. Translation edited by Cong Long and Ailian. Everything has a source, and the source is the greatest creator. 万物有源，源头为上帝. The Amazon River that runs across South America, the mighty Nile River, the surging Yangtze River, and the roaring Mississippi River all have their headstreams. The Benguela Cold Current, Peru Cold Current, Mozambique Warm Current, and Guyana Warm Current all have their sources. The Rio de Janeiro London Airline, Los Angeles Paris Airline, Honolulu Manila Airline, and Paris Colombo Airline all have their starting points. All the tools we commonly use, from pencils, needles, shovels, spoons, and pliers to cars, computers, printers, cameras, and machine tools, as well as all the objects we use, from musical instruments, chess, painting and calligraphy, books, watches and clocks, to tables, chairs and wooden stool, shoes, socks, hats, teacups, thermoses, desk lamps, phones, refrigerators and televisions. Everything created by humanity has its origin and did not appear out of nowhere. The cats, dogs, sheep, and pigs we keep in our homes all have a source, and even the plants we cultivate in our gardens, such as peonies, peaches, pears, and apricots, did not appear out of thin air. Their original origins can be traced. Music, writing, art, medicine, theories, methods, magic arts and axioms, and theorems all have sources. White Europeans, black Africans, yellow Asians, Arabians, and Brazilians are all descendants of their ancestors. The towering Himalayas, the fertile and vast Nile Delta, the extensive Amazon alluvial plain, and the Antarctic glaciers are all formed by the vicissitudes of history. All things have their origins, and the Earth, the solar system, and the universe are no exception. They too have their beginnings. Since everything has an origin, there must be a primordial origin, and this primordial origin is the greatest creator. Everything is in motion, and the primordial motive power comes from the greatest creator. ทุก万物在动，出动力来自上帝. Mountains are rotating, winds are dancing, rivers are flowing, and springs are bubbling. Clouds are drifting, and the earth is moving. The sea is churning and flames are burning. Grass and trees are growing. Flowers are fading. Bacteria are multiplying, and insects are busy. Cows and sheep are grazing. Lions and tigers are running. Hens are laying eggs, and larks are singing. Electrons are swirling. Molecules are moving. Particles are flowing, and electromagnetic waves are rushing. Infrared radiation is radiating, and gamma rays are piercing. Electromagnetic waves are spreading, and photons are flashing. The heart is beating, blood is flowing, the skin is breathing, and the stomach is moving. Nerves are sensing, hair is growing, thoughts are connecting, and spirits are stirring. Build great faith cultural building of the second home, now new oasis for life. Part 1. Xiefeng. The type of faith will decide the type of soul. The type of soul will decide the type of culture. And the type of culture will decide the way of life and production and the operation mechanism of society. The cultural construction in the second home of Life Genuine has a direct bearing upon our way of life and production and operation mechanism of society, and has a direct bearing upon whether we can ascend to the highest realm of life and realize our ultimate ideal. The paramount principle for the cultural construction of the second home is the building of great faith, the great faith in Buddha and the greatest creator, the great faith in Jesus Christ, Buddha Sakyamuni, immortal Lao Tzu, the Prophet Muhammad, and the great man Mao Zedong, and the great faith in the guide Xiefeng. Without these three great faiths, it will be impossible to build healthy culture, and people will lose their direction and will fall asunder and plunge into chaos. The resulting internal strife will waste time, energy, material, and mental efforts. As a result, it will be impossible to pioneer the era of Life Genuine, in which the worthy person can fully utilize his talents. The whole world is like one family. No one will keep lost articles found on the roadside, and the houses need not be bolted at night, in which everything will be in complete harmony. The weather will be good for harvest, and everyone will be happy, free, and pleasant. and in which all methods are unified into one general principle and all religions are unified into one uniform religion. What is great faith? Great faith is complete belief and trust without any suspicion. Great faith means trusting what you understand and what you do not understand for the moment. Every Chanyuan celestial must read The Greatest Creator thoroughly and then read Revelation in connection with his or her life experience so as to build great faith in the greatest Creator. Without the great faith, it is like water without source and wood without root. Every Chanyuan celestial must read Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and Gospel of Judas, and have profound knowledge of Diamond Sutra, Heart Sutra, and Tao Te Ching, worship Muhammad and Islamic spirit, learn Mao Zedong's spirit of serving the people with heart and soul, form the most sublime wish and build the great faith in Jesus Christ, Sakyamuni, Lao Tzu, Muhammad, and Mao Zedong. Every Chanyuan celestial should read Chanyuan Corpus and Xiefeng Corpus thoroughly, know about the Guide Xiefeng, and build the great faith in the Guide Xiefeng. You can ask yourself who in this world can inherit and carry forward the wisdom of God, Buddha, celestial being, sages, and saints in a comparatively systematic and complete manner. Comparison can tell who is superior and who is inferior. You can make a comparison of all people in the history of mankind and all people of the present time. If any one of them can surpass Xiefeng in words and actions, then you can abandon the Guide Xiefeng immediately. Faith is truth. Love is life. Faith can accomplish everything. Small faith accomplishes small thing. Great faith accomplishes great thing. Without faith, one will not know what course to take and will accomplish nothing. Comparison can tell who is superior and who is inferior. You can make a comparison of all people in the history of mankind and all people of the present time. If any one of them can surpass Xiefeng in words and actions, then you can abandon the Guide Xiefeng immediately. Faith is truth. Love is life. Faith can accomplish everything. Small faith accomplishes small thing. Great faith accomplishes great thing. Without faith, one will not know what course to take and will accomplish nothing. With great faith, you can overcome all difficulties and hardships in life. You can light up the magical lamp in your heart and illuminate the road ahead. You can get rid of passivity, pessimism, and form a positive and optimistic attitude. And you can pursue the sun and get away from darkness, and finally reach the soul mountain indomitably. We should build this cultural atmosphere, namely the great faith in the greatest Creator, the great faith in Jesus Christ, Buddha Sakyamuni, the immortal Lao Tzu, the Prophet Muhammad, and the great man Mao Zedong, and the great faith in the Guide of Life Chanyuan Xiefeng. This is the core of culture building of the second home. 常心存感激，第二家园文化建设。2. Be always grateful. Cultural building of the second home, now new oasis for life. Part 2. Xiefeng. Gratitude is the primary element for the sublimation of the quality of life. To become Chanyuan celestial, one must be grateful. To enter the second home, one must be grateful. How can one not be grateful for escaping the program of the secular world and enjoying the great pleasure of life in the second home? What else do we want? The second home takes charge of our food, clothing, shelter, transportation, living, aging, illness, and health, and we need not toil and worry about supporting the old and raising the young. Our work is simple, and we need not be overloaded with trifles. With a lot of sisters, brothers, and lovers, we are no longer lonely and solitary. With free and open love, we are no longer depressed, melancholy, and distressed. Since we have achieved the state of having nothing and at the same time possessing everything, we need no longer worry about possession. Since we have the stage to fully exhibit our personality and talent, we no longer need to fear that our talent will not be put to good use. Since we are far away from the secular world, we no longer feel anxious about the intrigue, scheming, and cheating between each other. Since we have our guide to lead us, we need not worry about the future of our life. What else do we want? Man should not be greedy. Do you think there is an end to it if you still feel unsatisfied when living in such a cultural atmosphere and environment? Still feel that you have not treated yourself fairly, still dislike this or that, still make endless complaints, and find faults with everything? Without a sense of gratitude, you will have an unsatiable desire, you will feel unsatisfied, you will grumble with complaints, you will make trouble, you will become lazy, you will be fastidious, you will have a bee in your bonnet, you will feel only you are capable, you will feel others owe you a lot, You will complain and find faults. You will try to control and hold others in sway. You will stir up trouble and sow discord between people. You will hurt others in words. You will cause endless trouble and suffering to your sisters, brothers, and lovers, and you will not be able to concentrate on your work. With a sense of gratitude, you will have a clear consciousness and mind. You will not ask for too much. You will not keep your eyes on other people's shortcomings. You will not loaf around without anything to do and without anything on mind. You will not attempt to control and usurp others. You will not attempt to impose your own will upon others. You will not restrict others' joy, happiness, blessing, and freedom. You will not have jealousy, complaint, and comparison. You will not lose temper and have a lot of discontent and grievances. You will not feel that others are bullying and restraining you, and you will not be disheartened and listless when you meet some setbacks. With a sense of gratitude, you will bring joy and pleasure to others and yourself. You will not feel the poverty and hardship of life. You will not feel depression. You will feel everything is wonderful and satisfying. You will be broad-minded and refreshed. You will have unselfish love and devotion. You will always compliment and encourage others instead of finding fault and complaining to others. You will be forgiving and tolerant to others' mistakes and faults. You will form harmonious, amiable, and loving relationship with the environment and people, and you will have great enthusiasm and passion and devote completely to the cause of man's happiness. Before we realize our ideals, we should always keep in mind that none of us is perfect and we all need further sublimation, and that we should not stop at where we were yesterday. Since neither we ourselves nor others are perfect, we should forgive and tolerate each other, while tolerance derives from the gratitude in our soul. The sense of gratitude in every Chanyuan celestial should be a cultural characteristic of the second home. As long as we have a sense of gratitude, there will be no mountain of flame that we cannot climb across, there will be no difficulty that we cannot overcome, and there will be no temporary plight that we cannot put up with, because the sense of gratitude can reach heaven and earth and human nature. As long as we have the sense of gratitude, we will get the love from Buddha and the greatest creator, and we can get out of the temporary plight and change for the better. Be always grateful over everything, and eventually you will reach your ideal destination. 坦诚直言，第二家园文化建设3. Be frank and honest cultural building of the second home. Now New Oasis for Life, Part 3. Xiefeng. We should put an end to autocracy and dictatorship. We shall make sure that all kind, hardworking, simple, and faithful people enjoy pleasant, joyful, free, and happy life. And we will build a good culture and environment, where there is no oppression, no exploitation, no suppression, no destruction, no maltreatment, no infliction, and no discrimination, where all people are equal, people care and love each other and live harmoniously, and where people share weal and woe. Firstly, people who speak frankly shall not be subject to revenge and retaliation and threat. Anyone who has some opinion to contribute shall be encouraged, respected, heard, and paid attention to, as long as he is speaking the truth, as long as he is not deliberately provocative and does not make groundless speculation, as long as he is not unreasonable and does not talk nonsense, as long as he does not aim to stir up trouble and instigate, as long as he does not create difficulties and form a clique to pursue selfish interest, as long as he does not attack for personal spite, as long as he does not expose others' privacy and land them in an embarrassing situation. Since the guide Xiefeng plays a critical role in this second home of ours, and I myself is not perfect, you should be strict with me, so that you can prevent the guide from becoming an unsatiable autocrat and destroying this beautiful home that has been built with your hard work. Every sister, brother, and lover should speak out frankly, help me, and save me instead of fomenting my mistakes whenever he or she discovers that I practice favoritism, that I take advantage of my power to bully people, that I maltreat any Chanyuan celestial, that I deviate from the values of Chanyuan, that I reserve privileges for myself, that I threaten or harm anybody, or that I have caused the harm of spirit, soul, and flesh to any sister or brother. If my words and behaviors have offended you, please point them out frankly, and do not let me be misled and mistakenly think that you like my words and behaviors, to such an extent that I become swellhead and always have my way. Please tell me frankly if I have not handled affairs fairly, if I take part with someone, or if I practice bureaucratism and oppression. If I retaliate somebody for his frankness, then I have degenerated into a demon. Then the guide has lost his reason and is not worth trusting. We should speak frankly about the guide. We should also speak frankly about every Chanyuan celestial in the home. No one in this home can be left out. Everyone should accept others' frank opinion. Anyone who harbors discontent and hatred for others' kind and frank words and resort to retaliation is not sincerely engaging in self-refinery and self-cultivation, and thus should be criticized by the guide. The best way for frank speech is to reserve one night every week for a meeting of exchange in the home. Everyone shall speak frankly in the public if they have some opinions concerning some matter, if they feel that they are wronged, if they feel that they are not treated fairly, if they feel that they have sustained someone's maltreatment and harms to their spirit, soul, and flesh, or if they find that the sister or brother of the home has deviated the values of Chanyuan in speech and actions. All problems should be resolved publicly instead of privately. We should build a culture in which everyone can speak frankly. We Chanyuan Celestials should all be superhuman. He will not be a qualified Chanyuan Celestial and a frank person if he does not speak frankly about the wrongs, unfair treatment, and oppression he has suffered. A person who does not speak frankly is absolutely not an honest person. He is either a cunning and sly double dealer or a good-for-nothing. With the exception of privacies, everything in the second home should be transparent and exposed to the sunlight. Otherwise, it will be difficult for us to create the era of life genuine for mankind, and we will not be entitled to guide the whole mankind. Privileged class and special interest groups are not allowed in the second home. At the same time, we should not practice egalitarianism, because we have the noblest wish in self-refinery and self-cultivation, and everything that we do is for the sake of perfecting ourselves and reaching the best realm of life and life. We do not aim to obtain any personal benefit and interest from the home. Open the windows and the sunlight and fresh air will come in. Take a broad view, and you will see faraway mountains are fresh and green. If everybody speaks frankly, the dark cloud will be dispersed and decay will be turned into miracle. Then we can create an ideal environment and a beautiful future, set an example for mankind, and eventually realize our most beautiful future. 情爱性爱自由第二家园文化建设4 Freedom of emotional love and sex love. Cultural building of the second home, now new oasis for life. Part 4. Xiefeng. February 22, 2010. Emotional love is the precious gift endowed to mankind by the greatest creator. Sex love is the highest order of game, as well as an effective initial approach to become a Buddhist believer, to gain enlightenment and reach the realm of Elysium. Fully enjoying emotional love and sex love accords the will of the greatest creator and is a part of beautiful life that cannot be ignored and expropriated. It is an important connotation of the culture building of the second home to ensure that everyone fully enjoys emotional love and sex love and protect everyone's freedom to fully enjoy emotional and sex love. Any suppression or expropriation of this freedom is inhuman and goes against the will of the greatest creator. There is no family, no marriage, and husband-wife relationship in the second home. Once inside the second home, everyone is free and is free from any bondage and shackles in the matter of emotional love and sex love. On the basis of mutual consent and within the code of civility, one will not be subject to any form of restraint and supervision in his or her emotional life and sex life. Anyone who attempts to limit and supervise others' freedom of emotional love and sex love has deviated the values of Chanyuan and will not be entitled to live in the second home. No one should usurp or control others. No one should treat others as his or her private properties. No one should interfere in others' emotional love and sex love. No one should expropriate others' freedom of emotional love and sex love. In other fields of life, we should get rid of the consciousness of feudal autocracy, eliminate oppression and private ownership. In the field of spirit, soul, and flesh, we should also get rid of the consciousness of feudal autocracy, eliminate oppression and private ownership. Jealousy indicates the ugliness of one's soul. Jealousy, complaints, resentment, and hatred manifested in emotional and sex love are the symbols of an ugly soul. It is morally criminal to restrict, control, monitor, supervise, and hinder others' freedom of emotional love and sex love out of jealousy. In the second home, any form of emotional and sex love is free. One is free to live all by himself. Point two, people are free to live together faithfully and refrain from any emotional and sexual relations with any third person. One is also free to have more than one emotional and sexual partners. One is also free to have unlimited number of emotional and sexual partners. Everything goes on in accordance with one's own free will. This is private affair, not public affair. The second home respects everyone's will, personality, and hobbies. No one should impose his or her will and values upon others. Those who like bread should not limit other people's like for noodles. Those who do not like apples should not forbid others to eat apples. The home encourages the blooming of all flowers, like the 8 celestial beings that each display their own special skills in crossing the sea. The home provides the stage for the full and comprehensive blooming of gorgeous flowers of human characters. For thousands of years in human history, as a result of erroneous consciousness of emotional love and sex love and artificial limitation, improper moral norms and commandments have been established in different countries, causing countless people to have been treated unfairly. Human character has been severely suppressed. The originally beautiful things have been messed up. Actually, very simple things have been complicated. Things that are pure and noble in nature have been treated as humble and dirty. What should have been a comedy turned out to be a tragedy. Such situations should not continue. The original purity and simplicity of things should be restored so that everyone can fully enjoy the pleasure of emotional love and sex love, and everyone leads a happy, pleasant, free, and blessed life. And this is an important part of our culture building. Since man is still in the backward and ignorant state at present, in the situation of competition and struggle governed by the rule of jungles, and in the war of survival centering on the selfish possession of resources, we face severe challenge and difficulty in building a culture that makes sure everyone fully enjoys emotional and sex love. The road ahead is fraught with twists and turns and great risks. Without a firm will, one is likely to be swallowed up by the secular outlook on emotional love and sex love at any time. The wind and waves of the secular world may overturn our boat of new culture. However, the society is moving forward, people are awakening, and more people have realized that the traditional views on emotional love and sex love have caused great misfortune and pain to mankind, especially to individuals. We firmly believe that as long as we stick to our belief, and as long as we are patient, the new culture of the second home is bound to be widely accepted by people. A brand new way of life will bring happiness and light to mankind, and the life-genuine era surely come to us. 信靠家园第二家园文化建设5. Believe in and rely on the home, cultural building of the second home, now new oasis for life. Part 5. Xiefeng. At home we rely on our parents, in the society we depend on our friends. This is one part of the traditional culture. To survive and develop in the actual human society, people mainly depend on interpersonal relations, parents, husband, wife, children, sisters and brothers, relatives and friends, classmates and associates, leaders and subordinates, and so on. As a result, the relations between people become extremely complicated and entangled. If anything adverse happens to the relation that you depend on, it may trigger a series of interpersonal disputes and emotional turmoil, concessions, resignation to exploitation, suppression and depression, oppression and exploitation, jealousy and complaint, resentment, intrigue against each other, scheming against each other, contention, flattery, cheating, rising to bait, anger and revenge, abuse and maltreatment, mental torture, control of the soul, and the like. Once you change and place your trust on the second home, all these ugly phenomena will disperse like dark clouds. Every Chanyuan celestial's food, clothing, shelter, transportation, living, health and diseases are taken care of by the home. The elderly people are supported by the home. The children are raised and educated by the home, and the freedom of emotional love and sex love is guaranteed by the home. The home provides the stage for every Chanyuan celestial to fully exhibit their ambition and talent. Thus, we can surely shift from our dependence on interpersonal relations in the traditional culture to the dependence on the home. Accordingly, interpersonal relations will become pure and simple, natural and harmonious. People will live in happiness and love. We should build our belief in and dependence on the greatest creator, the home, and ourselves. We should not believe in and depend on man. Belief in and dependence on man will lead to tragedy of life and a series of bewilderment and pain. Belief in and dependence on man will prove to be our own and others' encumbrance and spiritual burden. Belief in and dependence on man will surely make one become the servant and sacrifice of others and make it impossible to lead a life of one's own. How do we believe in and depend on the home? We shall regard the home as the place where we can settle down and lead a quiet life, as the stage where we can fully utilize our talents, as the best environment where we can obtain joy, happiness, freedom, and blessing, and as the fertile soil where we can bring into full play our sincerity, kindnesses, virtue, love, faith, and honesty. We shall regard each Chanyuan celestial as our sister's brother, relative, and lover. Love the home, unselfishly devote one's talent and wisdom to the home, carefully and conscientiously do every job that one has chosen in the home according to one's interest and hobbies, strive to do his or her best and achieve the best performance, contribute every day to the home more than one gets from it. Meanwhile, continuously sublimate the quality of life, perfect his or her own non-material structure of life, continuously make way to the highest realm of life, and realize 1 foot long cherished wish and ideal. How can we believe in and depend on the home? Upholding 800 values for new era human being is the fundamental guarantee for the realization of the wish of the individual and the ideal of the home. Eliminate greed, corruption, laziness, extravagance, and selfishness. Cultural building of the second home. Now new oasis for life. Part 6. Xiefeng. Corruption, embezzlement, laziness, extravagance, selfishness, and waste are the archenemy of civilization, are the character and behavior of demons, are the cancer on the body, are the viruses of depravity and the cozy home, are the pathway to evils, are the poison that erodes the beautiful soul, and are the undercurrent, reef, and quicksand that hinder man's evolution toward the era of Life-Chanyuan. In order that we can create a cultural environment in which everyone is joyful, happy, free, and blessed, in order to ensure that man and nature and man live in harmony and peace, and in order to realize the most beautiful wish and most sublime ideal of man, we should prevent the occurrence of corruption, embezzlement, laziness, extravagance, selfishness, and waste. We should thoroughly get rid of the soil for the breeding and growth of these 6 evils. Otherwise, the mansion of civilization will collapse because it is built on the fluctuating quicksand. First, every Chanyuan celestial must understand that, no matter how much sweat and effort we have made for the home, and no matter how much contribution we have made to the home, our purpose is to pay back our debts accumulated over different lives and build up the wealth and treasure for our journey to the heavenly kingdom, instead of acquiring more benefits and interests from the home than ordinary Chanyuan celestial. Any contribution and devotion should not be an excuse for our corruption, embezzlement, laziness, extravagance, selfishness, and waste in the second home, and should not be a bargaining counter and standard for the formation of the special interest group that stands high above the masses. Everything in the second home belongs to all Chanyuan celestials. Anyone will be suspected of waste? If he or she has exceeded basic standard in the aspect of food, clothing, shelter, and transportation and has hindered the principle of full utilization of resources and man's talents. Anyone will be suspected of waste? If he or she has exceeded basic standard in the aspect of food, clothing, shelter, and transportation and has hindered the principle of full utilization of resources and man's talents. How can we prevent the occurrence of corruption, embezzlement, laziness, extravagance, selfishness, and waste in the second home? First, we should constantly learn and understand 800 values for new era human being. We should always uphold the 800 values and make sure that every Chanyuan celestial living permanently or temporarily in the home builds the most noble wish, sets up the great and lofty ideal, cultivates noble moral character, sublimates the realm of life, exhibits the sincerity, kindness, virtue, love, faith, and honesty in the depth of soul, willingly and voluntarily learn and follows the example of saints, lights up the magical lamp in the mind, constantly remains alert and prevents himself or herself from depravity, and establishes a moral cord in his or her own conscience and make a judgment of oneself. Secondly, We should eliminate the private ownership, guarantee that everyone has nothing but owns everything, solve for everyone the issue of food, clothing, shelter, transportation, living, aging, and death. Solve the issue of supporting the old people and raising and educating the children. Solve the issue of physiological need. Enrich spiritual and cultural life. And promote the taste of life. At the same time, we should do away with the soil for the contention of power, interests, positions, money, fame, and beautiful women, and make sure that there is no power worth contending for, no special position available for occupation, no money available for embezzlement, no fame for people to capitalize on, and no beauty to be privately possessed. Thirdly, every Chanyuan celestial shall exercise the right to be the master of the home and have the freedom of speech. Everyone can speak freely, and we should not limit the freedom of speech. We should not take revenge on and punish those who speak out their opinions. Every week a special meeting of exchange shall be held for everyone to expose the corruption, embezzlement, laziness, extravagance, selfishness, and waste that has occurred in the home. We should check the erroneous ideas at the outset. When any trace of such trend is discovered, it should be checked and banished timely. We should uphold the principle that the criticism shall be aimed at affairs rather than at a certain person. We should have a strict attitude to affairs, but a gentle attitude to people. We should not casually apply principles to anything. We should not casually mete out punishment. We should always remember that none of us is perfect, and that everyone is likely to commit mistakes. We should make sure that those people who have made mistakes have enough time to repent and correct their mistakes and improve their character. We should forgive those who have made mistakes, and always bear in mind that every Chanyuan celestial is our sister, brother, relative, and lover instead of our competitor or enemy. No matter whether the home is in favorable or adverse situation, it should consistently combat corruption, embezzlement, laziness, extravagance, selfishness, and waste, and eliminate the soil, climate, environment, and condition for the birth of these 6 evils in the home's operation procedure of production and life. Only in this way can we create a comfortable, harmonious, lively, and energetic situation of production and life, where unified will exist together with pleasant individual feeling. Only in this way can we shoulder the task of creating the era of life genuine for mankind and pilot the era of life genuine for mankind. Only in this way can we reach the highest realm of life and arrive at the ultimate destination of life and life. 谨守自然之道，第二家园文化建设7 Stick to the way of nature cultural building of the second home, now new oasis for life. Part 7. Xiefeng. February 2, 2010. The main path is easy to walk on, yet people love the small bypaths. Tao is worshipped and Te is exalted, without anyone's order, but is so of its own accord. Tao models itself after nature. Tao Te Ching. The way of the greatest creator is the way of nature, and the way of nature is the union between man and the universe, the union of different methods, the way of being a man, the way of light, the way of great peace, the way of joy, pleasure, freedom, and happiness, and the easiest, simplest, and nearest and cheapest way to the 1,000-year world, 10,000-year world, Elysium world, and the celestial island continent. Adherence to the way of nature is a distinguishing feature of the culture of the second home. How can we adhere to the way of nature? Everything and every phenomenon in nature is the cell and word of the greatest creator. We should hold nature in esteem and awe, love nature. We should not damage nature. We should blend into nature and live in harmony with nature and share prosperity with nature. The universe and nature is the palace hall of the greatest creator. Therefore, the second home will not build churches, temples, monasteries, and other places for the worshiping of the greatest creator. Worshipping nature is worshiping the greatest creator, and showing awe and respect to nature is showing awe and respect to the greatest creator. The second home shall not make sculptures and carvings for the worshiping of the greatest creator. Worshipping everything and every phenomenon in nature is worshipping the greatest creator. Feel the gratitude for the greatest creator from the depth of heart. Spurn different forms of worshipping, burn no incense, no paper money, and do not kowtow. Do not use animal or any other creatures as offerings and sacrifices. Begin labor at the rise of the sun, and stop at the setting of the sun. get up at dawn and clean the courtyard. Rear, survive, live, and die according to the law of nature. With the exception of Tomb Sweeping Day, Dragon Boat Festival, Mid-Autumn Festival, Spring Festival, and the like, which are closely associated with nature, the second home does not celebrate any other man-made holidays. Have dinner when one feels hungry and go to sleep when one feels tired. When cultivating oneself, Chanyuan Celestial follows the law of nature. Chanyuan Celestials will have meal when they feel hungry, go to sleep when they feel tired, engage in entertainment when he has a desire for it, and go to work when it is time for it. They will not break the law of nature or build luxury dwelling places. They will be thrifty in food and do not eat rare and expensive delicacies. They do not value objects difficult to obtain. They do not wear diamond rings, do not envy man-made works of art, do not cultivate magical arts, do not pursue special skills, do not seek shortcuts. They spurn any form of cultivation that is against the law of nature. What one says should be based on facts. What one does should be based on scientific and objective laws. What one reasons should be based on logic. Give up any form of superstition, such as dialogue with deity, communion with higher soul, speaking via deities, and talking in the name of the greatest creator, God, and spirits. Do not practice magic and wonder. Do not show off special skills. Do not pass on strange tales. Do not pass off as Jesus Christ or Buddha. Keep a distance from ghosts and deities. Do not tell fortunes. Do not make predictions. Do not practice the ritual of expelling the ghost and calling back the spirit of the dead. Do not practice witchery. Do not practice theurgy. And do not wear special garments and accessories that mark one's statuses. Be natural in everything and free from any affectedness. The more prohibitions there are, the poorer the people become. The sharper weapons there are, the greater the chaos in the state. The more skills of technique, the more cunning things are produced. The greater the number of statutes, the greater the number of thieves and brigands. Tao Te Ching. Therefore, on the basis of observing rules, we should break with any taboo. The home does not possess any other devices, except for those used in production, life, and entertainment, does not produce and possess swords, spears, and other weapons, does not encourage people to learn strange skills, and does not make rules and statutes. Everything follows the law of nature. Tao models itself after nature. Therefore, following the way of nature and upholding the way of nature means following the way of the greatest creator and following the way of life. The way of nature is like the bright sunlight of spring, with good weather and fresh breeze and good luck and harmony. The way of nature is simple and easy to carry out, and will become brighter and brighter, more and more noble, and more perfect. The way of nature is not only the way of man, but also the way of celestial being. As long as we stick to and follow the way of nature, in the long term we will most certainly attain deity celestial being and super celestial being. 个体自由的八大标准 8 criteria for individual freedom. Xiefeng. September 18, 2008. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. An advancing life ascends from the realm of necessity toward that of freedom, while a regressive one retreats in the opposite direction. If we want to climb to a higher level space of life, we must strive to move toward the free kingdom. What are the criteria for complete freedom of the individual? In other words, what criteria do individuals need to achieve the realm of freedom? Sexual freedom. Lack of responsibilities and obligations. Lack of cares. Lack of close personal relationships. No one to answer for you. No answering for anyone else. Doing as you wish without overstepping basic law. Managing and governing yourself. We will examine each in detail. Sexual freedom. As long as an individual and their partner are willing, when and how they make love should be their unrestricted decision. Only common sense manners should dictate the proper time and place. Lack of responsibilities and obligations. Just as flowers grow, bloom, and pollinate, everything is natural and voluntary, not forced by responsibilities or obligations. Once there are even the least number of responsibilities and obligations, freedom is lost. A newborn baby lives on milk and its mother gives her breast, but this is natural and voluntary, brings pleasure to both, and is not done out of responsibility. Lack of cares. Own nothing, own everything. Act freely and have no cares. Once you care for something, your freedom is lost. Lack of close personal relationships. Once you have close familial relationships, you have obligations and responsibilities, and once you have friends and lovers, you have to care for them. Therefore, friends, relatives, and lovers are obstacles to freedom. No one to answer for you. You need to solve your own problems and expect no one to solve them for you. Deal with your own necessities of life, such as food, clothing, shelter, transportation, birth, old age, illness, and death naturally and with neither regrets nor complaints. Do not answer for anyone. Answer to the greatest creator and for yourself, but not to anyone else. Doing as you wish without overstepping basic law. Do as you wish, but never overstep the basic law. You can do as you wish, but always revere the greatest creator. Revere life, revere nature, and never harm life or nature. Managing and governing yourself. As long as one is managed, supervised, governed, or controlled by others, they have no freedom. This means that individuals who have reached the highest level of quality and accomplishment will have achieved the highest realm of civilization, so they will not need to be managed, supervised, governed, or controlled by others because they will naturally interact with others, both harmoniously and efficiently. 去天国路线图 The Roadmap to Heaven by Xie Feng, May 7, 2006. Living on Earth? Follow the teachings of Jesus, Sakyamuni, Muhammad, Lao Tzu in science. Enter Life Genuine. Study Life Genuine values. Become a Chanyuan celestial. Unconventional thinking. Purify one's soul. Shift consciousness and change one's life structure. Enter the new oasis for life. Meet the standard of 1,000-year world. Understanding the major 8 ways of thinking. Meet the standard of 10,000-year world. Understanding the 8 secrets of life. Go to Elysium World. Description. When you still live on the earth. 1. You first need to learn and understand the wisdom and teachings of Jesus, Sakyamuni, Muhammad, and Lao Tzu, and study scientific knowledge, on which basis enter Life Genuine. Study and understand the contents in Chanyuan Corpus and Xiefeng Corpus. Also listen to the thoughts of Chanyuan masters and learn their wisdom. Point 2. Try to become a Chanyuan celestial after that. Once you are a Chanyuan celestial, you must train yourself to think in an unconventional way, breaking all superstitions and shackles that confine human nature, gradually get away from the bondage that the ideas of traditional family, country, political party, and religion have on your mind, and consciously sweep the dust and stains on your soul just like wiping off the dust on a mirror. Let your mind and behaviors exhibit towards the direction of sincerity, kindness, beauty, love, faith, and honesty. Point 3. Then we need work hard on the core of self-cultivation, putting efforts on shifting our consciousness. Let our mind go into non-material world. Although our body residence on the earth, our mind stays in heaven. From this step, we can further come to the new oasis for life. Experience the new lifestyle copied from 1,000-year world. Point 4. Finally, practice Chanyuan meditation. In this way, you can be ensured to go to the 1,000-year world. If you want to go to 10,000-year world instead, you need to grasp the secrets of 8 ways of thinking, and you can surely go to the 10,000-year world. However, if you don't want to stop there, you need to understand the 8 secrets of life thoroughly. Once you reach that stage, you are able to go to Elysium World at any time. The theory is just simple as that, and the roadmap is very clear, but it is not easy to really follow it and meet the standard. 全球对共产主义的误解太深. The Great Global Misunderstanding of Communism. Xie Feng. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. Western society regards communism as an evil beast, while Oriental society misunderstands communism as sharing property and people. But a true communist society is actually a utopia, the great harmony, and a nickname of the kingdom of the greatest creator. This misunderstanding was rooted in the wrongdoing of global communist parties from the birth of Marxism. The mistakes of the whole Communist International and the failure of really understanding the essence of communism by Lenin and Mao led to highly flawed executions. Communist society is the most humane, which should be realized by its lack of pain to any individual from the starting point. Real communism cannot be illustrated by the dictatorship of the proletariat or the theory of class warfare and does not support power from the barrel of a gun. New Oasis for Life of Life Genuine is a real communist society. We never apply dictatorship or the theory of class struggle, nor share possessions or partners, not even to deprive capitalists of their property. It was voluntarily built up by all the members, by moistening the honey and the dew of silent love. This fact speaks louder than words. Its illustration is the best touchstone. Communism is not an evil beast, but a real paradise in the mortal world. Just to look up the history and life mode of New Oasis for Life, and you will understand real communism. 孔子可以休息了. Confucius should retire. Zufeng, December 30th, 2014. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. Confucius is most worthy of respect as a Chinese national thinker and moral leader. His educational theories are especially praiseworthy. However, it would be more of a disaster than a blessing for China to continue regarding him as a saint and promoting him as such to the outside world. First of all, Confucius understood benevolence, righteousness, courtesy, wisdom, and credibility, and to be gentle, benign, modest, thrifty, and courteous, but he had no regard for Tao. That is to say, Confucius focused only on the branches and leaves, but attached no significance to the roots. However hard he tried, he never strove to reach the faith nor the virtue of being a mortal human. This is why he had regrets, as can be inferred from the Analects of Confucius. Li Ran, namely that having heard Tao in the morning, one may die content in the evening. Confucius never understands Tao, even to his death. Secondly, Confucius despised laborers and regarded them as inferior beings. It was written in the Analects of Confucius. Zilu, that his student, Fanshi once suggested to Confucius that he should learn to plant crops, but Confucius answered him, I am not as good as the farmers. Once again Fanshi asked him to learn to grow vegetables, but Confucius again answered him, I am not as good as vegetable growers. After Fanshi exited, Confucius denigrated him by saying, what an inferior person Fanshi is. Superior people can be courteous, but ordinary people will have to revere them. Superior people can be righteous, but ordinary people will have to obey them. And superior people can be credible, but common people will certainly love them. In that way, the common people will always take refuge with their own children. So why would I ever need to, or want to do as they do, to plant crops? How can one who looks down upon the laborers bring blessings China? Worse than that, Confucius was unkind. When Fanshi asked him for advice, not only did Confucius not facilitate his student earnestly and patiently to his face, but he even belittled his student as being inferior. Does this kind of teacher deserve to be one at all? As he was wrong macroscopically, it would be to no avail, no matter how hard he strove. He was confused macroscopically, but prudent microscopically. With the development of modern society, Confucius needs to retire. 人生和生命的价值和意义. The Values and Meanings of Life and Life. Xiefeng, February 17, 2008. Translated by Transin and edited by Care. Life and life are two different concepts. They are interrelated, but fundamentally different. Life is that part of life which exists during its journey through the mortal world. Life is temporary, but life is eternal. Life is a chapter in the long river of life. Life is a series extending outward from the origin of the universe to infinite time and space. Life can come to an end at any time, but life can never end, even with the ending of life. The life of life is over, but life itself will always continue to exist in other forms. Therefore, the values and the meanings of life are different from those of life. If you confuse the values and meanings of life with the value and meaning of life, then you are likely to have a confused life. The values of life are to serve for life, to pay off debts, to improve your life structure, to make life happy, joyous, free, and blessed, and to make it extend to higher space. The meanings of life are to create wealth and joy, to serve oneself, others, and the community. The values of life are to serve the greatest creator, to serve nature, and to maintain the dynamic balance of the life of the universe. The meaning of life is that the universe exists for life. Life lives for the universe. Without the universe, there would be no life, and without life, there would be no universe. So, what are the values and meanings of life and of life? If your life is happy, joyous, free, and blessed, and if you can orient your life structure toward perfection, then your life has value. If your life can create wealth and joy for yourself, for others, and for your community, then your life has meaning. If your life serves the greatest creator, serves nature, and serves other life, then your life has both value and meaning. 耶稣不是上帝. Jesus is not the greatest creator. Xiefeng. April 20th, 2006. Translated by Shidai and edited by Care. Jesus was the greatest person in history. He was the Christ, the hope of humanity, the door to eternal life, and the son of, spokesperson for, and the road leading to the greatest creator for all kind, diligent, simple, honest, and humble people. Regardless of how much we praise Jesus, it can never be too much, but we cannot say that Jesus was or is the greatest creator. A real Christian must venerate Jesus, listen to the teachings of Jesus, and strictly behave according to Jesus' teachings. To lower or raise the status of Jesus is inexcusable. It not only blasphemes the greatest creator, but it is also a betrayal to Jesus. Furthermore, it would be the Antichrist and a sin to human beings. Jesus belongs to all human beings, not to any specific nation or religion. Jesus' teachings are for everyone. Everyone who loves Jesus, believes in Jesus, and follows Jesus' teachings is a Christian. This does not need any baptism or approval from any special anointed person or religious institution. Even the Hindu, Mahatma Gandhi said, "I love Jesus Christ." Many Buddhists also say they love Jesus. But here we shall know that Jesus is not the greatest creator. Jesus never claimed himself to be the greatest creator. He taught us again and again that we shall walk on the way of the greatest creator. Let us check the words of Jesus to verify whether or not Jesus was the greatest creator. But he said, "I must preach the good news of the kingdom of God to the other towns also, because that is why I was sent." Luke 4:43. Here, Jesus says that he was sent. If Jesus is the greatest creator, who will ask the greatest creator to do things? By myself, I can do nothing. I judge only as I hear, and my judgment is just, for I seek not to please myself, but him who sent me. John 5 verse 30. Here, Jesus clearly tells us that he came, not for his will, but for the will of the greatest creator. Anyone who speaks a word against the Son of Man will be forgiven, but anyone who speaks against the Holy Spirit will not be forgiven, either in this age or in the age to come. Matthew 12:32. Here, Jesus humbly tells us that if we speak a word against him, we can be forgiven. But if we speak words against the greatest creator, we cannot be forgiven. These words clearly show that Jesus was not the greatest creator. Then the mother of Zebedee's sons came to Jesus with her sons, and, kneeling down, asked a favor of him. "What is it you want?" he asked. She said, "Grant that one of these two sons of mine may sit at your right and the other at your left in your kingdom." "You don't know what you are asking," Jesus said to them. "Can you drink the cup I am going to drink?" "We can," they answered. Jesus said to them, "You will indeed drink from my cup, but to sit at my right or left is not for me to grant. These places belong to those for whom they have been prepared by my Father." Matthew 20:21-23. Here, Jesus directly tells us that his right was less than the greatest creator's. He had no right to grant people to sit at either of his sides. If Jesus were the greatest creator, would he not have this right to grant? And at the 9th hour Jesus cried out in a loud voice, "Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani?" Which means, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Mark 15 verse 34. Jesus called out with a loud voice, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." When he had said this, he breathed his last. Luke 23:46. From these words, how can we say that Jesus is the greatest creator? I also want to ask, can man condemn the greatest creator to death? Is man more powerful than the greatest creator? I still want to ask, Jesus had prayed many times. If Jesus were the greatest creator, to whom did he pray? Is there any being greater than the greatest creator? The facts prove, time and again, that Jesus was not the greatest creator. So, Why do some people still claim that Jesus is the greatest creator? There is an evil purpose here, which is to raise the status of Jesus so high that it moves people farther away from the greatest creator. Since they said Jesus is the greatest creator, they shall listen to the teachings of Jesus. But no, they did not hear and follow any teachings of Jesus. They just wanted to get to their own scheme. What was the scheme? That is to praise Jesus so high with their lips that they betray Jesus and ask people to walk on the way of Satan. But what about you? He asked. Who do you say I am? Simon Peter answered, You are the Christ, the Son of the living God. Matthew 16:15-16. Some Christians who praise Jesus with their lips have dishonored the real Christians. No wonder that Mahatma Gandhi said, I like your Christ. I do not like your Christians. Your Christians are so unlike your Christ. Yes, Jesus said that, I and the Father are one, John 10 verse 30. But this does not mean the Father is the Son or that the Son is the Father. It means that Jesus has been with the greatest Creator throughout many ages. It means that Jesus is the honest Son of the greatest Creator. Jesus dutifully carried out the greatest Creator's will, and what he had done were all strictly following the greatest Creator's will. From this, Jesus and the greatest Creator are always one. Jesus keeps his oneness with the greatest Creator from the beginning of time. We often speak of the unity of humanity and heaven, but it does not mean humanity and heaven are the same. 老子思想在第二家园管理中的运用. The application of Lao Tzu's thought in the management of the second home, now new oasis for life. Xiefeng, November 30th, 2010. Chanyuan Celestials in our fourth branch. The second home is the new life mode for future mankind. It is managed by the holographic thinking, whose core is conformity to the Tao, compliance with nature, absence of action, lack of contention, observance of neutrality, absence of dominance, lack of selfish desire, and enthusiasm for service. Specifically speaking, the management method of holographic thinking means following the way of the greatest Creator, running everything according to the program of nature and according to man's origin of nature, avoiding the extreme employment of man's intelligence and wisdom, staying away from all measures and methods that are likely to lead to contention, argument, and fight, refraining from radical behaviors, making no rules, regulations, laws, commandments, and orders, eliminating all private ownership, and trying every effort to bring out the sincerity, kindness, beauty, faith, trust, and peace in human character. The distinction between people and people is only the difference in division of labor, and there is no relation of the managing and the managed. All are offering services to each other, and there are no such positions as the administrators. All affairs, important or not, will be handled on the basis of clear division of labor, with special persons assigned to take special responsibility for the special affairs. The management of the second home should depend fully on Lao Tzu's thought, which is represented by the following 8 points. Guidance by the saint and management by the talented. The management here only implies a difference in the division of labor instead of the difference in the status. Saint manages affairs without action, preaches the doctrine without words. All things take their rise, but he does not turn away from them. He gives them life, but does not take possession of them. He acts, but does not appropriate. Accomplishes, but claims no credit. It is because he lays claim to no credit that the credit cannot be taken away from him. Exalt not the wise, prize not rare objects, shut out from sight the things of desire, and the cunning ones shall not presume to interfere. In his dwelling the sage loves the lowly earth. In his heart he loves what is profound. In his relations with others he loves kindness. In his words he loves sincerity. In government he loves peace. In business affairs he loves ability. In his actions he loves choosing the right time. Banish wisdom, discard knowledge, banish humanity, discard justice, banish cunning, discard utility. Embraces the one core principle, thinking, or method, etc., in everything you do. Eschew excess, eschew extravagance, eschew pride. Point 7. Govern the home with justice, not with human wisdom. Do away with taboos, sharp weapons, skills of technique, and statutes. 8. Despise not their dwellings, dislike not their progeny. From the above 8 points, it can be known that there should be invisible saints in the second home, who do not guide with preaching, but with wordless examples, who create things silently but do not take possession of them, and who serve all creatures but do not claim credit for their services. Do not flaunt the worthy and talented, do not distinguish the superior from the inferior. The rarer a thing is, the less use it will be put to. Do not set up things that may stimulate a person's selfish desire. Leave no loopholes and market for the deceiving and cunning persons to act wildly against the law and public opinion. Keep a clean and tidy living environment. The people in the neighborhood should be unsophisticated and honest and sincere. People should have a kind heart and treat people kindly. They should seek truth from facts, tell things as they really are, and keep their promises. What they do should fit in with their hobbies, personalities, and special talents. Their behaviors should comply with natural laws and their actions should accord the actual situation. Give up cunningness and artfulness, stick to the way, abandon the preaching of righteousness and morality, discard skills, fame, wealth, and ranks. Make people unselfish and possess nothing. Make sure that they have nothing but actually possess everything. Embrace the one in everything. Revere and believe in the only greatest creator in the universe. Abide by the overall arrangement of the only government in the whole world. There will be only one person responsible for everything. Do not have a life of luxury and do not waste. Practice moderation in everything. Do not overdo. All affairs and arrangements of the second home should be made public so that everyone has a clear knowledge of them. Do not engage in secretive management. Do not practice superstition. People should stick to facts, science, logic, and spiritual perception. There should be few prohibitions, commandments, terms, and taboos in the second home. The second home should never possess any swords, spears, rods, and other weapons specially to harm others. It should not sing praise of people's cleverness and skills. It should make people live and work in peace and contentment and enjoy the ordinary life. It should not cause disturbance to their settlement or disrupt their peace and quiet. It should make sure that everyone enjoys the joy, pleasure, freedom, and happiness of life. It should abstain from force, coercion, and suppression, and should make sure that no one imposes his or her own will upon others. In one word, the second home adopts paradise management. The content of this method of management is both simple and complicated, and only those with supreme wisdom can understand. Yet, no matter how complicated the management is, everything will become extremely simple as long as you follow the way of the greatest creator or the way of nature. Otherwise, the management will become extremely complex. 混沌管理，用服务代替管理. Paradise management, replace management with service. Xiefeng. November 4th, 2010. Paradise management has very rich connotations. It is simple because it does not manage anything. It is at the same time complicate because it is the highest form of management, which makes everything operate in a methodical and orderly manner. In paradise management, management is replaced with service. The host is actually the servant and the management is actually the service. No administrative orders will be employed. No force will be used. Submission shall not be obtained via threats, lure by promises of gains, intimidation, or suppression. It is forbidden to impose one's own will upon others to make them painful or unhappy. It is forbidden to make anyone feel any sense of inequality between people. The greatest creator manages the whole universe by paradise management. All things take their rise, but he does not turn away from them. Makes them grow, develops them, it gives them birth and does not own them, acts, helps, and does not appropriate them, is superior, and does not control them, accomplishes, but claims no credit. Water benefits all things, and does not compete with them. It dwells in the lowly places that all disdain, but of the best. When their task is accomplished, their work done, the people all remark, "We have done it ourselves." A good runner leaves no track. A good speech leaves no flaws for attack. A good reckoner makes use of no counters. A well-shut door makes use of no bolts, and yet cannot be opened. A well-tied knot makes use of no rope, and yet cannot be untied. Of the best rulers, the people only know that they exist. The next best they love and praise. The next they fear, and the next they revile. What paradise management employs is affinity instead of deterrence, happy play and games instead of a serious appearance, naturalness instead of resort to force. This method of management offers happiness and freedom instead of suffering and bondage. It exerts its influence subtly and does not resort to rainstorm-like power. It teaches with wordless example. It enlightens spiritual wisdom and perception and makes people fully exhibit their sincerity, kindness, beauty, love, faith, honesty, simplicity, and character. It does not resort to endless preaching and cheating, and it does not arouse people's selfishness and greed. It is difficult to give a full and clear definition of paradise management, which can be easily understood but is difficult to explain in words. But one thing is certain, and this is service. Mobilize initiative with love, move with real emotion, and make people move toward perfection with sincere service. All looks so natural, without any track of force and suppression. Of course, when faced with disproportion and radicalism, paradise management will stop its apertures and dull its edges, from Lao Tzu Tao Te Ching. 不结婚如何过日子? The life without marriage. Xiefeng. Once one gets married and forms a family, he or she will be plunged in a life of misery. He or she will lose the fundamental freedom of being a man, not to mention the chance of attaining immortality or Buddhahood. Anyone with a family is selfish. They cannot help being selfish because they are controlled, encumbered, and dominated by the program of family. How much pressure a person must bear if he or she does not get married and form a family? The pressure of parents, the persuasion of relatives and friends, the care of neighbors and colleagues, the criticism from the society all bear down on our spirit and soul like huge mountains. The physiological demand, the desire for a home, the worry for illness and death, and the difficulty to relieve loneliness all make us desire instinctively to get married and form a family. If the above problems are not resolved, we will feel pain and suffering all the same, and we may even have greater pain and suffering if we do not get married and form a family, because getting married and forming a family is a matter of course and as easy as sailing downstream, while not getting married and forming a family is as difficult as sailing upstream. The problem is that sailing downstream leads to no other than pain and suffering, which history of mankind has proved to be unavoidable. Then we have no choice but to sail upstream. Let's discuss and resolve these problems one by one. First, the pressure of parents. We should be filial to our parents, but we cannot give in to our parents in the matter of life and life. We know about the road taken by our ancestors all too clearly. It is a road of misery, which we should not repeat. If our parents force us to get married and form family, we must raise some conditions to them. 1. Ask our parents to tell us the significance and value of life. 2. Ask our parents to tell us the nature and meaning of life. 3. Ask our parents to provide good housing conditions. 4. Ask our parents to guarantee our happiness all our life. If our parents cannot meet these conditions, then we can tell them in definite terms that we cannot get married and form a family. As for the persuasion of relatives, friends, neighbors, and colleagues, we can also respond with the above 4 conditions. Or we can simply respond with one question. Can you help me through if I encounter plight and pain after getting married and forming a family? Please give me a written pledge. As for the criticism from the society, we can just ignore it. If pigs say something is wrong with man's life, then just let them squabble. How can we solve the problem of physiological need? The need for food and beauty is our inherent character. The need for sexual life is but a matter of course, otherwise the greatest creator would not have designed those organs and senses for us. A life without sex would be one with abnormal spirit and psychology. We will not only have sex, but also have sex of high quality and happiness. Why don't we? Only a fool would not have sex. Without marriage, with whom do we have sex? It is impossible to do this with chicken and ducks. Contracting disease is only a small matter when compared with the loneliness and solitude of spirit and soul that can't be relieved even after the acts. One cannot afford it economically, and no one would care for your living, old age, illness, and death. Can we find someone randomly to live with us? This may temporarily meet our urgent need, but does not provide long-term solution. What is worse is that we have to bear a lot of liabilities. We may commit irremediable mistakes and cause a series of chain reactions, and suffering and mystery may be endless. My advice is to become Chanyuan Celestials and have the sex life with Chanyuan Celestials. On the condition that you don't go against the ethics, you can make love with whichever Chanyuan Celestial you want to be with, as long as the two of you are willing to do so. You can choose the way that you like. Because we have the same belief, we share the same frequency and resonance. We are a whole. We have the same life values. We are not bound together. We don't hurt each other. We are willing to pay everything for each other, including life. Here is the trouble. Once people, especially our relatives, friend, neighbors, and colleagues, know that we are Chanyuan Celestials and are so casual and free, we will be drowned by condemnation, insult, revile, and grief, and we will be the helpless lambs surrounded by packs of wolves, torn, bitten, trampled, and swallowed. And this will be the price we have to pay for the pursuit of freedom. However, one would rather die than lose the freedom. Without freedom, what do we live for? You live a life, but for whom do you live? Therefore, to get freedom, one must be prepared to remold himself thoroughly and to be reviled by the so-called gentlemen, kind-hearted people, moralists, and defenders of traditional moral principles. One must be prepared to completely break with the secular world. In one word, one be prepared to die. When I am writing these heretical remarks, when I say that the God preached by the Bible is not the real God, when I reprimand family, religion, political party, and state, I have been prepared to die anytime. I have said that every day might be my last day. However, I can speak the truth for myself. I am satisfied with my magnanimity and openness. Even if I am dead now, I have no regret because I have lived a real life. The publication of this article may cause some Chanyuan Celestials to leave the home and may cause some people who want to enter Chanyuan to shrink back. No matter what the results might be, this is Life at Chanyuan. We just tell the truth. We are fair and upright. How do we solve a series of problems? Please read the next article. Chanyuan Celestials will live in this way. 禅院草创造美梦祈祷词 A prayer for Chanyuan Celestials to create beautiful dreams. Xiefeng, December 7th, 2010. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. Preface. Life is like a dream. A dream is like life. Life is but a dream. A dream is also your life. People have lots of dreams throughout their lives, so let every one of them become splendid and fantastic so that they can wander in beautiful dream worlds every night. Dreams are also supplements, links to great lives. A dream is a reflection of a person's state of consciousness, physiology, and soul. Good people have good dreams. Evil people have nightmares. In order to enjoy beautiful dreams, you must first obtain a good consciousness, physical health, and a beautiful soul. If one's consciousness is a mess, has many physiological defects, or has a soul garden that is full of weeds such as jealousy, resentment, anger, anxiety, selfishness, greed, laziness, arrogance, and so on, then they cannot enjoy beautiful dreams. Chanyuan Celestials are baptized by the values of Life at Chanyuan and are building their own soul gardens. In order to cooperate with the construction of these soul gardens, this prayer for Chanyuan Celestials to create beautiful dreams was composed. Lie naked on your bed. Take 8 deep breaths and clear your mind. And forget all the problems of your past day. Remain peaceful and simple. Meditate on the beauty of the 1,000-year world or the 10,000-year world for 3 minutes and read the prayer below attentively. The prayer for creating beautiful dreams. Loving greatest Creator with my infinite reverence, I am lying in your warm, comfortable, safe, and gentle embrace. Your spiritual light embraces my whole body. As spring rain moisturizes seedlings, brightness and beauty are falling on me. All is harmonious and peaceful. The night is sacred and the earth is quiet. The air is filled with the fragrance of flowers. The first faint glimmer of dawn twinkles in the distance. Tomorrow's world will be more beautiful than today's was. I am a beautiful flower fairy. I am a beautiful elf. I am a baby with your special care and blessing. I am always bathed in your spiritual light wherever I go. With neither fear nor darkness, I can enjoy running and playing on the prairie. and in the river as much as I can to my heart's content. Nothing can hurt me. My world is full of joy and safety. My future is beautiful. I yearn for it infinitely. Following your messenger, I have neither worries nor hesitation. Flowers pave the road ahead of me. The great beauty of my hometown, the thousand-year world, beckons to me. I am a fairy. I am an angel. I can fly in the vast blue sky. Ah, the feeling of flying is so comfortable and joyous. I want to fly. Fly to the distant hometown of heaven. Oh dear greatest Creator, thank you for all that you have bestowed upon me. I am no longer sad and have no worries. I have taken the path that you have arranged for me. The road ahead is clear and my future will continue to become more joyous and full of brightness, pleasure, and happiness. Ah, peaceful night. I am so happy to be lying in your arms. The fragrance of affectionate love follows me on my path to heaven. Gods, Buddha, angels are with me. Tonight is full of fresh flowers and sweet dreams, and I will enter dreamland and my dreams will be sweet and beautiful. Amen. Attention. The magic of the above prayer lies in your consciousness. Everything that has been inlaid to your consciousness will be realized even it seems illusory. Sense it in your heart and create it with your consciousness. Copy or print the above prayer in a larger font and read them in silence. If you are still unable to fall asleep, then read them twice or 3 times till you fade into the dream world. The second home, now new oasis for life. How can I repay you? Xiefeng, November 8, 2011. In the second home, I have had the most wonderful chapter of life and bring. People can live in your embrace and feel no regret. But how can I repay you the second home? If I cannot repay you, then I will be an ungrateful black sheep and a lazy parasite. The second home, can I be permitted to repay you in the following 8 aspects? 1. Every day I will get up early in the morning and finish my work conscientiously, with or without management and supervision. I will willingly and voluntarily set my mind on work and do it well. 2. Every day, I will greet every sister, brother, relative, and lover with sunny smiles. I will never spoil other people's good mood with my negative, passive, and pessimistic feelings. I will bring happiness and joy to every sister and brother that I meet with my smiles, kindness, and diligence. 3. Every day I will keep the home clean and tidy. I will never litter. I will never defile any corner of the home, including the bedroom, dining room, table, washing basin, bath, courtyard, path, toilet, and any other tool that I have used. For I will never complain to my sister and brother about my grief and distress, never dump the spiritual garbage to them, never talk anything evil about my sister and brother behind their backs, never fabricate and spread disputes, never find fault with anyone, and never blame or reproach anyone. 5. I will never waste any materials and articles in the home, even a piece of tissue paper. I will never be sumptuous in using the resources of the home, never appropriate any materials. I will treasure and show care for any utensil that I have used and never cause damage to them. 6. I will be a well-educated and civilized person. I will never breach the law of the state and never involve myself in any criminal activities. What I say should be an honest and heartfelt expression of sincerity, kindness, virtue, love, faith, and honesty. My action will never cause harm to anyone, to the society, and to nature. 7. Every day, I will cherish everything in the second home and cherish the life that has not been easy to come by. I will be grateful to Buddha and the greatest Creator for everything, to the home. If the home is in need of my service, I will devote everything, including my life, to the home, even if I have to climb the mountain of bayonets and cross the sea of fire. 8. Every day, I will perfect my soul in everything I choose to do and eliminate the weeds in the garden of my soul, such as jealousy, complaint, comparison, anger, fury, censure, resentment, selfishness, greed, arrogance, laziness, passivity, pessimism, gossip, vulgar, shallowness, and barbarity. I will make myself a beautiful scenic spot in the home and make myself a matter of pride for the home. Let the home be more splendid because of me. Let every sister, brother, relative, and lover be joyful and happy because of my existence. The second home, I find it difficult to express my love and gratitude for you in words. No matter what happens, I will devote myself heart and soul to you. I will put all my heart to build you, protect you, and perfect you. I will devote everything of mine to you, including time, energy, intelligence, strength, and material power. I am more than ready to contribute everything to you. Help me to build a paradise on the earth. Xiefeng, November 13th, 2018. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. To those with an open spiritual perception, I am the guide of life Echanuan from the thousand-year world of heaven. I now am an experienced builder of paradises on earth. I have written for the past 2 decades, the main contents of which are written in Chanyuan corpus and Xiefeng corpus, but there are also more than 1,000 undeclared articles about the arrangements and details of life in an earthly paradise. I have built several of them over the past decade, including 9 picturesque Xanadu homes in mainland China. However, the Chinese government forcibly disbanded and destroyed all of them because they misinterpreted us as a religious organization. Now, I want to rebuild them in full accordance with the model of the thousand-year world of heaven. The paradise which I want to build on the earth is neither a utopia, communism as it is now understood, the New Harmony Village that Robert Owen built in the United States, those communities which still exist today, such as Oroville in India, Tamara in Portugal, Damanhuri in Italy, Findhorn in Scotland, Christie Diane, the Free City in Denmark, Ideal Society, and 12 tribal communities in Canada, Twin Oaks, Hummingbird, Dancing Rabbit, Tremor Education Community, and Ananda Village in the United States, nor countless others. It is most similar to Kanahana family in Japan in spirit, but not in form. What I want to build is a functioning paradise on earth. What will that look like? You can gain an overall understanding and see a general picture by referring to the following sources. Search for the Thousand-Year World on Baidu or Google. Read the texts or watch the videos of The Bright Spot of the Second Home, Now New Oasis for Life series. More information is available on the following websites: smcyinternationalfamily.org, bit.ly/2qwrq4j, lifechanyuan.org, newoasis4life.org, leafcosmos.org, Chinese, lifelvzhou.org, Chinese, chaneyuan.org. Centering on sincerity, kindness, beauty, love, faith, honesty, peace, and joy, I can build what you can imagine, but I need the following resources. No less than 60 hectares of land with nearby rivers or spring water and year-round spring-like climate with neither intense heat nor severe cold, which is like Harare, Zimbabwe, or Chuxiong, Yunnan, China. $1 million. Local governmental permits. 300 people from a multitude of nationalities, cultures, races, and faiths will be selected to participate in constructing, living, and producing in it. Why would I build such a paradise in the human world? To create an ideal mode of life for people and to point to a beautiful and brilliant road for mankind which will give them freedom from worry, pain, anxiety, and fear. To let people know that paradise does exist as long as you make the effort and that by doing so, you can live in heaven from now on. To let people know that life is so beautiful that we can lead happy, free, joyous, and blessed lives and be even happier after death. If you have the ability, please give me a hand. If you can provide the land, that would be great. If you can provide the money, that would also be great. If you can acquire a governmental permit, that would be great too. No matter how much or in what form you can help, please do it. You would be giving alms formlessly, and the returns would be inconceivable. This is a matter of life and death because over the next decade, climate changes will become more and more volatile. Droughts, floods, hurricanes, intense heat, and severe cold will attack us, and fires, floods, and plagues from insects and pestilence will happen. The number of refugees will grow geometrically, and people will compete for resources just to survive. As a result, conflicts and competition between states, interest groups, religious and political groups, and patriarchal clans will become more intense, and the situation will become absolutely tragic, even cutthroat. Every day will be a contest between life and death. What you have now will soon crumble to smoke and ashes. It is better to dedicate your offerings now, because that could lead you into a more livable future. I am eagerly awaiting your good news. Facebook, Xiefeng 2018. WeChat, 00125070633283. Email, xiefeng2218@163.com. 人生行为三要素. 3 causes of life's behavior. Xiefeng, January 7, 2019. Translated by Qinyu and edited by Care. Affection, reason, and nature are the 3 causes of life's behaviors. What are the factors that motivate people to perform in certain ways? Birds die for food, but people die for money. Is it wealth that motivates people to behave in certain ways? The prosperity of the world is for profit. The hustle and bustle of the world is for profit. Is it profit that motivates people to perform in certain ways? In fact, it is neither wealth nor profit, but affection, reason, and nature. For example, some quarrels and fights between husbands and wives, fathers and sons, mothers and daughters, brothers and sisters, or even colleagues have nothing to do with wealth or profit, but they still happen. I want to ask the world, what is life all about? Some people live for it, others die for it. People here do not live and die for wealth and profit. Life is dear, love is dearer. Both can be sacrificed for freedom. Everyone must die. Let me leave but a loyal heart in the pages of history, and similar behaviors are not for wealth or profit. According to Maslow's theory of the hierarchy of the needs in life, what makes certain behaviors happen are the physiology, safety, social interaction, respect, and self-actualization needs of people. According to Freud, sexual instinct in the unconscious mind is the basic motivation for human behavior. Both Maslow and Freud make sense, but they cannot explain all the motivations of human behavior. For example, trampling on an ant or praising a member of the same sex cannot be analyzed by Maslow and Freud's theories. However, all the motivations of human behavior can be explained by affection, reason, and nature. In other words, all human behavior is in accordance with either affection, reason, or nature. It must be at least one of these 3. If a certain behavior is not in accordance with affection, then it must be with reason or nature. If it is in accordance with neither reason nor nature, then it must be with affection. We often say that someone is unreasonable or irrational when in fact they are really unreasonable, but they are being affectionate. We often say that someone is indifferent when in fact they are just not affectionate, but their behavior is in accordance with their nature. Home is not the place for reasoning, it is the place for affection and nature. Men value rationality while women value affection, so couples often do not understand each other. Either spouse will think that the other is being unreasonable and selfish when in fact they are both playing a harp to a cow. Doing so is not the fault of the cow, but that of the player. What is the use of playing a harp to a cow? You are not on the same channel and are just annoying the cow. The behavior of living for yourself while helping others secretly is not in accordance with affection nor with reason, but it is in accordance with nature. That is someone's nature. Some people are born omnivores while others are lifelong vegans. This cannot be analyzed with affection or reason because it is the product of one's nature. All desires are manifestations of people's natures, all requirements are manifestations of affection, and all preaching are manifestations of reason. The advantage of knowing this truth is that everyone in the world becomes pleasing to your eye. Everyone becomes right. Do not worry if children are crying. They are just expressing their nature. Take it easy if a wife is crying, shouting, and trying to hang herself. She is just in a mood. Do not be afraid if a husband is yelling sternly. He is reasoning. Trump launched a trade war against China, so Xi Jinping fought back, tit for tat. Xi Jinping wanted to invade Taiwan by force, so Tsai Ing-wen talked domineeringly. Some people are screaming, "Exterminate the CPC," while others are shouting, "We love the CPC." In my opinion, they are all right. If you only consider from the perspective of affection, reason, or nature, then you will feel that they are all wrong. If you do so from my 3 causes, affection, reason, and nature, then you will feel that everyone in the world is right. Who can say that mice who dig holes are wrong, but that cats who catch them are right? On the contrary, who can say that cats who catch mice are wrong, but that mice who dig holes are right? All are right and none are wrong because they are all following their natures. Eventually, you will find that those who are destined to die will die, and those who are destined to live will live. Those who are destined to live are still alive. This is good. Those who are destined to die are dead. This is also not bad. 无用之用有大用. Uselessness has great use. Xiefeng. January 7th, 2019. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Care. Life's journeys are full of contradictions, struggles, conflicts, fights, troubles, pains, disasters, and a preponderance of anxiety. Something has to be wrong with this. So what is it? The problem is that people are all chasing useful things and have no time to consider the useless ones. What are considered life's useful things? Money, power, fame, gain, and carnal pleasure are a few. What are considered life's useless things? Beliefs, ideals, faith, morals, and integrity are some. If someone is not lacking money for food, clothing, shelter, and transportation, but is still in deep trouble and pain, then their problems have doubtlessly been pursuing useful things and completely neglecting useless ones. By the existence of things, we profit. By the non-existence of things, we are served. Useful things are for profit and useless things are for usage. Useful things are for survival and useless things are for life. Those who pursue money, power, fame, profit, and carnal pleasure all their lives are only doing it for survival, which will inevitably lead to fighting, killing, depriving, robbing, complaining, envying, suffering, and eventual disasters. The rich died violently, the powerful were imprisoned, the famous committed suicide, the owner of land and luxury cars died on the street, and attractive celebrities were betrayed and bullied. That quote illustrates how the things that are seen as being useful are not really of great use. If those who possess money, power, fame, profit, and carnal pleasure neglect the so-called useless things, then their results will be misery and their lives will face tragic ends. Faith which seems useless can guide lives. With it, you can escape the reef and avoid being drawn into the vortex of tragedy by the power of the secular world. Following the right ideals can make people's minds bright, reduce nonsensical follies, words, and actions, establish self-esteem, self-confidence, and self-discipline, and avoid the company of troublesome people. If you have faith, you can maintain righteousness under difficult and confusing circumstances, and temporary setbacks and tribulations will not cause you to associate with evil influences to commit illegal acts, use drugs, or go out whoring, or scam and steal from people. This is actually tantamount to avoiding disaster. People of virtue can calm down and remain at ease with no anxiety for wealth or honor, no worries about poverty or humbleness, to be content with the rules of Tao, and to just enjoy their lives regardless of where they are or what they're doing. People of quality can behave as evergreen trees fight severe cold, smiling faces pull through midsummer, born in a valley, do not refuse to bloom because you have no audience. Cultivate virtue and morality, do not change integrity for hardship. In fact, it is analogous to avoiding a lot of troubles, pains, and disasters. It can be seen from this that what seems useless has great use. Since useless things are of such great use, then why do the overwhelming majority of people seek out only what they perceive as useful ones? The answer is that the vast majority are myopic. They see no farther than the tips of their noses. People only look for their short-term interests and never take the long-term into consideration. They are all afraid of suffering losses, so they want to get their material wealth early. Human society has been this way in the past, is now, and will remain the same in the future. Worries, pains, anxiety, fears, and disasters will always accompany people, and nothing will change unless Tao has other plans. Knowing this, I can only watch with cold eyes. 正义永远战胜不了邪恶. Justice can never defeat evil. Xiefeng. July 4th, 2019. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Bandy. I often hear people say, justice will eventually defeat evil. After my long review and inspection, I finally found that justice will eventually defeat evil